Hey yo, it's the WMMA Today podcast with Drake Riggs and Steve King. It's been a while since Drake and I have been on together. Shit happens, and you know, shit happens in life. But we're here. We're gonna talk the Bellator 271 recap, the UFC Vegas 42 recap, some news, some good news, some bad news. Personally, bad news to me. UFC Vegas 43 preview, and the RIZIN 32 preview. The comeback, fucking the welcome back. It's the welcome back for me, man.
Oh yeah, good stuff going on. And man, yeah, Steve, you've done a show with somebody. You've done a show with a guest sooner than I have. We haven't talked since you had Serena on. The guys were telling me last week that it was pretty fun. So you tell me before we get into things, how was it with Serena Southpaw? I saw a little bit of it. Obviously, I chimed in there when I was in Florida just for a moment, but I didn't really see the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I mean Serena's dope. You know, when I told you that I was gonna have Serena on with me, that didn't just come to mind. There's a couple other fighters. I think I've told you one that I wanted to have on and stuff. Serena, I was like, you know what? Serena's fucking awesome. I want to have her on. And she DM'd me like
instantly.
Later, instantly, like literally right away. And she was like, let's fucking go. She was pumped. And she held that whole attitude 3 hours, dude. We went 3 hours. Look, Drake, I was not expecting to go 3 hours. You and I go 3 hours. I was not expecting to go 3 hours with Serena. But man, dude, you know what? She tells stories. You know, she has insight. You know, I mean, what more could I ask for from her? I was asking her questions. The chat was asking her questions. Great questions from the chat. Yeah, man, Serena's dope, and she wants to come back on. I think it would be cool, you know, the three of us to do it together. It might run fucking 6 hours at that point, but it is what it is.
Right. Time management, we got to work on that.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, Serena's awesome, man. Serena's really cool. I really enjoyed having her on.
Yeah, no, from what I saw, it looked like a good old time, and that she was, you know, able to talk about everything, which is always kind of the hurdle I feel like we would run into with guests, is like, because we cover so much like of the world that, you know, not everybody can be as invested as we are and try to be. So good to see that she was able to keep up.
The interesting thing about Serena is she's totally into the Japanese MMA culture and the fighters and the fighting and all that. You know, she loves Muay Thai. She's really knowledgeable. I loved having her on. She's kick ass.
Absolutely. So
not that I would take her over you. I'm not saying that.
Hey, I saw that like, part of the show.
You know, it was like different. You know what I mean? Like it was 3 hours, dude. I didn't feel like it was 3 hours.
Yeah, that's good.
3 hours is a long fucking time, by the way.
I know. I mean, yeah, she went as long as we generally do. Right. So
I was not expecting that. And like her and I talked off air for quite some time, like more. And dude, she's a dope girl.
Very good stuff.
She gave me all kinds of
some juice.
Yeah, dude. Like I was feeling it from Serena. You know, I was like,
well, I saw she said she left Syndicate and she's with Extreme now.
Extreme Couture. Yeah.
And we're working on the next fight and everything. So
yep, she's loving it. She's gonna let us know when she has a fight, and hopefully we can have her on.
That'd be cool.
To tell us about her fight. That's what I actually mentioned to her, and she's down.
Yeah, man, that would be awesome. That'd be perfect. So Very good stuff. It's been, crazy month for the show, obviously, you guys, but thanks for hanging in there with us throughout the whole thing. As the boys are here, we got Juicy Jackson, Aaron is here, Scott is here, James, the usual suspects, Rue, Jimmy, Rain, Joseph, and Joseph. Before we get into the reviews or the recaps, I guess, since you did miss last week, Steve, and it was one of the biggest talking points of, I mean, I guess the women for a while now, the Whaley and Rose rematch.
Yeah.
Joseph wants your thoughts before we go on, which I think might as well get him since you did miss out. Like I said, very, very, very fucking close. I had to watch it twice live. Yeah. And watching it live, as I said last week, I gave Rose the last 3 rounds, and then on the rewatch, man, it was very close. I think it came down to the third. Probably I can see a case for Whaley in the 5th because Rose kind of just was on top of her. Whaley was way more active. She actually outstruck her if you look at the numbers as we did. But either way, I think no matter how you feel about it, it's probably first 3 Whaley or last 3 Rose. And man, after the second watch, I don't know, man. It's very tough. How did you feel about it? Let's get your thoughts on the rematch.
Yeah, no, I love the fight. It was what I had expected from it. It was always
what we hoped for the first time.
Exactly. It was always going to be better than the first one. Not that the first one wasn't good. It was good for Rose Namajunas, obviously. It was great, right? The knockout was great. The second fight turned out to be the fight we expected the first time out. Trading rounds, Whaley took, to me, I gave Rose 3 rounds to 2 for Whaley, but I wouldn't. If the judges had gone to Whaley, I would have been okay with it.
One did, right? It was split
because it was a very close fight. I would have been totally fine, right, Drake? One judge actually did give it to Whaley, and I would have been totally fine with that. I just would have expected a third fight between the two.
Right.
It was a good fight, though. It was an excellent fight. I loved it. Whaley really improved, but Rose improved as well. She was heavy on the top, man.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that was honestly, kind of the issue, right? Was Whaley
might have been the better. Whaley might have been the better striker in the fight.
Are we surprised by that, though? I mean, we kind of been talking about that.
No, I mean, we're not. I'm not surprised by it. I don't, and I wouldn't assume that you would be either. It's just that Rose is such a good striker.
Right.
She's known for her striking, right? It was a good fight. It was a great fight, man. Do they go 3? Like, I don't know if they go a third time.
You can't. Unfortunately. Like,
it's like
that was the problem.
It's right. Like unfair at that point. For everybody else involved, especially Carla Esparza. Drake, Carla Esparza. It has to happen.
Yeah.
The second fight
we were saying that before this fight, Steve. That should have happened in this place.
Yeah.
Even though I was happy to see this fight happen. Great fight, as you mentioned, right there. Very close fight. And last time I checked on MMA decisions, I'm sure it's probably still the same. But if you look on there, Steve, the majority actually has Whaley with the first 3. So people mostly think that she won it. Thankfully, I'm not seeing too many robbery claims because, like you said, very, very close.
It was damn close, Drake. It was so damn close. Like I said, dude, I would literally be fine with either decision, Rose or Whaley. I would have been fine with it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too. Like, obviously, I mean, I think I'd say I like Whaley more. I just enjoy watching her more, and personality wise, I just like her a little bit more. I have nothing against Rose, right? But if I had a preference of who I would have wanted to win, just situationally, I probably would have preferred Whaley to win. But again, I can't be mad at it when it was this close, this good, or anything like that. So thankfully, people aren't super up in arms, I guess. But
I don't.
I wonder if they would have been though if Whaley did win. I'm sure that would have caused a story.
Yeah, I mean, of course,
but who knows?
There's always going to be the guys and girls who are just mad about everything.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But good stuff. Strawweight division needs to roll on, as you said, Carla.
Right.
That better be the goddamn move. Or
all right, so Whaley, then what do you think? Where do you think Whaley should go? Joanna? It seems like Joanna kind of wants to fight again.
I think it's still hard to tell with Joanna, and we talked all about this last week too. But
she's kind of been more vocal about things recently than she was for the whole past year.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair.
Marina Rodriguez.
That's the one.
That's a hell of a fight.
Yeah, I think that's still the one. And my main reason for not saying Whaley and Joanna 2 right now after this is because, like, let's freshen things up, man. Everybody's all fighting the same people. And even Rose Carla is a rematch, but there's been enough space, thankfully. But, like, there's that wild card of Andrade coming back in for a trilogy, which, is very minimal, but like that's still a possibility, which is absurd. As much as I love Jessica Andrade, which I truly do, I think she's fantastic, a great person, all that, you name it. She does not deserve a strawweight title fight whatsoever right now. So yeah, I would prefer something like Whaley versus Claudia or like Mackenzie Dern. Those were some names that were thrown out there last week by some of the guys.
Mackenzie Dern would be fun.
Yeah,
I dig that fight.
But I don't think you should go maybe too high, or you can't go too low. You got to find kind of that middle ground for Whaley. I mean, the Zhao Nan fight is probably a best case scenario for her in terms of rankings. But like, we don't want that to happen unless it can be that dream situation in China, title on the line, you name it.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah, and I asked Whaley about that actually, and Joseph mentions that, which I disagree with his beginning part here where he says, why does Whaley always make everything about politics? That is not true. So stupid to say that, Joseph. Gonna call you out for that. But then he says Whaley said she wouldn't fight Zhao Nan, which this is what I was referencing. I asked her about that because the Chinese people don't like to see other Chinese people fight each other. Yeah, I mean, it's been a rough year for Chinese MMA fighters, obviously. Yeah. And if they can continue to build up and get back on the forefront, I mean, why not try and do that? And again, if they were to offer her that fight, she would take it. That's kind of essentially what she said too. It's like, I'm not going to go out of my way to try and make that happen. But if offered, yeah, she's going to take it. She's not going to say no. But like, if you don't have to fight your countrymen when you're still kind of a country on the come up, why do that? Like, we've seen that before with, other people and countries do that. So it's not just, no singling out here, Joseph. And I'm sure the comments are probably getting you for this. We'll see as I scroll down here. But yeah, I don't want to see either of them lose or really fight each other unless it's that perfect perfect situation, which is distancing itself from us, unfortunately. Chuck is here. Good to see you, Chuck. Let's see. What do we got here? Little Scott, good to see you, buddy. He's going on about this stuff, which is interesting. So, Yusuf is here. Yusuf came back last week, Steve. So that was good to see Yusuf here again.
Welcome back, Yusuf.
Yes, of course. James mentioning, why are people saying Whaley should move to 125? It seems easy for her to make 115. We talked about that last week as well. Yes, I agree with you, James. I think it's being mentioned because of the fact she's now in a weird strawweight limbo. Lost twice to the champ, twice in a row. That was the fucking problem with doing it so quickly.
Yeah.
Now she's in a tricky spot.
It's exactly the problem.
If she goes to 125, she has a quicker path to a title fight than she does at 115. That's why it's being mentioned. Should she go there? No, she's perfect for strawweight, but now she's in a shitty spot. So that's how that goes. Yusuf says the fans don't deserve the Joanna rematch. Fuck that. I mean, I guess you're probably right. I would love to see it, just not next. Rue says Whaley versus Marina. Holy shit, that would be a banger. That would be excellent. You could do that too. You definitely could, but we'll see. I wouldn't be mad at that, but that's a tough rebound, for Whaley. I think something like Claudia's perfect. I think Mackenzie better in terms of ranking and all that, but a tougher fight probably. Claudia's kind of, I don't really know what's going on with her as well, but
yeah, she's been out for a while.
Yeah. So, all right. With that in mind, let's get into the recaps. I had to catch up on that stuff with Steve, you guys. So appreciate the comments and concerns, but we did have plenty of fights over the weekend, Steve, starting with Bellator 271. Cyborg gonna cyborg, my man.
Yeah, I mean, poor Sinead Kavanaugh, she had no chance.
She tried.
Like, she tried to punch with the puncher, who just demolishes people. That was just not a good game plan. Cyborg does violent things, and that's what happened to Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I said after the fight happened, was props to Sinead for doing what she said she was going to do and not backing down, because this went exactly how I thought it would. This was my exact prediction, so pretty much.
You say you're going to stand and bang with one of the best strikers in MMA. You're just asking to get knocked out, and that's exactly what happened. Like, that was a stupid ass game plan.
Do you think she was trying to replicate like what Nunes did, like how that fight went? Was that kind of her hope?
Well, first of all, there is no other Amanda Nunes.
Right.
Second of all, that's fucking dumb. You can't fucking do that. Obviously. I mean, in retrospect, she's probably like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have done that, right?
I would hope
no
so.
Shit, you shouldn't fucking do
that. Man. Great highlight though for Cyborg. So.
Yeah, they're fucking great knockout. I mean, it just adds to the fucking to Chris Cyborg. I mean, this is who she is. She knocks fucking women out.
Yeah. So honestly, not too much to say about that. Obviously, it was only 1 minute 32 seconds.
Crazy.
Again, just Cyborg is still phenomenal, of course.
Drake, I literally don't see anybody being able to beat Chris Cyborg in Bellator right now.
Yeah.
There's nobody in Bellator that can beat Chris Cyborg.
Now that Julia's gone, the only hope is for Kayla to come over, right?
That's literally it. That's it. Yep. Other than that, Chris Cyborg's going to be the champion until the end of days.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And Ghost real quick chiming in about the previous conversation, saying he disagrees. That's a tougher fight for Marina because of Whaley's wrestling. Do you mean tougher than Joanna? If that's the fighter you're mentioning, because we talked about a couple there, Ghost. But if you mean Joanna, then yeah, I definitely agree. I think Marina has a better chance against Joanna, but both very fun fights. But yeah, I agree with you there. Whaley would mix it up much more. Joanna doesn't try. I don't know has Joanna ever attempted a single takedown, Steve?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm gonna have to look at the stats after this, because that's a good little quiz question. But either way, Chris Cyborg retains. No surprise there. But again, I am going to give Sinead props for not lying to us. She did exactly what she said she would. So appreciate you there.
Well, I mean, okay, there's that. You said what you were going to do, but
it wasn't smart. No, definitely not.
No,
we knew that going in.
That was terrible. Just a terrible game plan.
Yep. Jimmy says these last few weeks have been great, but also made me mad because of the MMA community gaslighting me, saying that the cards of Dern headlining and Dumont headlining was good. Well, that's just how the community is going to be, Jimmy. We know the truth there. I had no problem with one of those. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with. It's all circumstantial. Let's not get into that stuff right now. But yes,
does it even matter?
No.
It doesn't even matter, dude. The only time that who's headlining or whatever matters is when it's title fights.
Yeah. Yep. That is a fact. The numbers support that. But anyway, as we continue on here with Bellator 271, Anger Fist also did her thing, Steve.
Yeah, poor Pam Bam.
Yeah.
She just met a very anger fisty girl.
A very
Ar-
angry fist.
Arlene Blanco is, man.
Getting better with age.
Yeah, she's got those hands, man. She strikes phenomenally.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't got to watch this one yet. I actually missed it, so I still need to go back and watch it. But
Pam
it's gonna be
Pam was
tough.
all right. Pam was all right. I mean, it was mostly Blanco, but I mean, you can see 30-27s, and there was 29-28 there, but it was
Mostly the
Blanco.
Blanco show.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's the funny thing about kind of Arlene and I guess kind of the situation, Steve, is like we can't see anybody beating Cyborg that's currently on the roster. I don't know if I can see anybody not named Cyborg beating Blanco on the roster. Like, who's going to beat her that isn't Cyborg? She's still doing very good. I think she'd beat Kat. She'd beat, whoever else would be coming up on her. So,
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are calling for Kat to get a title fight.
well, yeah, it's looking like that's what's going to be next, which will
for
be pretty
Cyborg.
rough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be any different from what we've seen the past few fights for Cyborg.
No, don't think so. Here's the question though, Steve, is if, and I hope that Bellator brings in Kayla, do they immediately give her a title shot? Do they give her Blanco, or do they give her somebody lower? How do you think that would play
Just
out?
fucking throw her to Cyborg. Fuck it, man.
Right away.
Yeah. I mean, do it. Just do it. If you're, and put that motherfucker on pay-per-view. Do your first pay-per-view.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Cyborg actually mentioned that today.
Did she?
Yeah, she, in response to one of MMA Junkie's videos, Mike Bond was talking about Kayla, like if she was to come to Bellator or whatever. And then, I don't remember exactly what Cyborg said, but she said that, like, there's no proof of Kayla being able to draw or sell a pay-per-view. And I mean, yes, technically she is right, or but I'd have to pull up exactly what she said. But yeah, she mentioned that, which is funny that you mentioned that as well.
Okay.
Aaron agrees with you, by the way.
Yeah, there's nothing else for Kayla Harrison if she was to go to Bellator. I mean, the same for if she goes to the UFC. She would immediate title shot against Amanda Nunes, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, probably ideally for her, but we'll get more into kind of that talk. Obviously, once we get to the UFC, Chuck reminding us that Bellator tried to go the pay-per-view route at least once. Doubt they'll make that mistake again. Well, the problem with that was they did one of those bullshit fucking freak show fights, right? I don't remember which one it was. It was Chael and Vanderlei, wasn't it? Okay, so never mind. I was thinking my mind immediately went to like one of the Kimbo Dada, Shamrock ones, but those were on the same card actually. So, it was Chael and Vanderlei, wasn't it?
So my thought about Bellator pay-per-view is put a bunch of title fights on the card, at least 3. Put 3 title fights on the card. They have Showtime. Showtime does boxing pay-per-views, which are great. Why not go try a Bellator pay-per-view and see? Just stack that fucking main card though. You can't give us Aaron Pico. Nothing against Aaron Pico, but you got to give names that people know. The whole main card of a pay-per-view, if Bellator was to go that route, has to be title fights and people that, like, even fucking Fedor or something like that.
I mean, it's worth a try because they haven't tried that with Showtime, right? Like Bellator 180, if my memory is right, that was the pay-per-view event, and that was the Madison Square Garden one, which was, that card was fucking stacked, man. If you remember, that one was loaded top to bottom. Like even the prelims, like that was when Reina fought Lindsey Van Zant for the first time.
Yeah.
I think Horiguchi Caldwell was on that one. Like that card was crazy.
Yeah.
But that was the rematch between them. Yeah. So they could do it. They definitely could. And I mean, not a bad way to start with, that fight. Obviously a lot of buzz around both those ladies.
It doesn't even have, Drake, I don't even think that it necessarily has to headline. It just has to be
right.
It just has to be, the co-main event or something like that.
Oh, it surely would be too. It'd be either main or co-main. I mean, Cyborg, Coker obviously loves Cyborg, and Cyborg's just a huge name in general.
Yeah.
She's only been main event in Bellator, right? They haven't even. She's been the focus.
There's no reason not to give her main events.
Yeah. So, on that kind of occasion, yeah, she'd be top or co-main. So, and there'd be no problem with that. So, oh, look who's here,
Alvin.
You love to see it. Alvin coming in with the positivity, saying, "Good evening, gentlemen. I have thoroughly enjoyed every single card we have been given these last 2 months. What incredible showing by these amazing fighters. My goodness, the man cannot be disappointed." You love to see it.
Yeah, I literally don't think that Alvin can be mad at anything.
I wish I was that way. I'm able to be pretty chill when it comes to everything aside from technology. Technology makes me pretty mad sometimes, but other than that, I'm pretty capable of keeping a cool head. So I need more zen in that department. Alvin, help me out. But appreciate you coming on by always, my man. As we move along to the flyweights, we just got the featherweight fights out of the way for the Bellator show, but we had 2 flyweight fights opening this card, Steve, and didn't expect this one. It was kind of a pleasant surprise. Sad to see Dirty Dez lose another one, but
yeah,
hey, Bruno,
what a bummer, man. I mean, it was a good fight though, but bummer for Desiree Inez. Bruna Ellen beat her by split decision. Couple 29-28 there and 28-29 in favor of Desiree Inez.
Did that surprise you? Because I thought that that Bruno won every round, like not like super clear, but clear enough. So when they said split, I was like, holy shit! Like, was I watching the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bruna did well enough to win the fight. I do. Yeah, I mean, she's a good fighter.
Yeah, no, Bruna's always been good, and I was very high on her. But when she was like right when she got to Bellator, but you look at how inactive she's been recently. I think this was her first fight since fighting Juliana Velasquez, which was like nearly 2 years ago, and so yeah, it's been kind of a while since we'd seen her, and she came back looking kind of like when she arrived in Bellator, which was very good of her when she's beating Vita Ortega and people like that. So hopefully she can keep it up. I mean, she's still only 26, so it's really not too big of a deal, but it made me not, a little hesitant to pick her. So I did end up going with Desiree last weekend. Thank you, Rue. He says he wanted Des to win since I was rooting for her as well. But I wouldn't necessarily say I was rooting for Desiree, as I do like both, but I do really like Desiree as a person. She's always fun to talk to and a fun fighter in general. So yeah, that was, I didn't expect Bruna to kind of show up not looking rusty. So that was kind of why I went against her.
There was no rush at all.
Nah, looked great out there. So yeah, not super surprising, but again, not what I expected. Great to have her back. Hopefully she can get somebody in the top 10 next. I don't know who you would do. Have to look at the back end. Oh, Absaragova's there and that kind of stuff. But Absaragova still, I don't know if she'd be ready for Bruna even. So we'll see. But either way, like I said, just good to have Bruna back.
Yeah.
Good and talented. So, all right. Now, I know you guys last week when Steve wasn't here, I kind of had to do a little disclaimer and say that I wanted less negativity because that was my first time on the show since everyone was real upset from those 2 events, Steve. You remember what I'm talking about? So I kind of wanted to say, let's be more positive. I'm not going to show too much of the negativity that you guys might have. And please express your opinions and feelings, but maybe just don't be too harsh or just, aggressively mean, even though you guys aren't really. But I know I said that last week, but I also got to tell it how it is. And I texted Steve after this fight, and it was one of the worst fights I've seen in a good while.
Yeah, but Valerie Laredo won. She
I guess
she ended up beating Taylor Turner by split decision, 29-28, 30-27, and then
30-27 was a joke.
Taylor Turner.
That was a terrible card.
Yeah, I mean,
like Turner won the third round.
It was a terrible card. It was a terrible fight.
Terrible fight. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was just not a good fight at all.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about this very much because it was not good, and it's just that's the thing, right? All I'll say is that, and we've known this, Steve, right? Like, this is how all of Valerie's fights look because that's her fighting style. People just don't realize, or they forget after she's got those 2 knockouts. She only has 2 knockouts, you guys. All of her fights leading up to that, they look like that as well. Yeah. I mean, not a lot to look at there, but this is how they all go.
Yeah.
Unless you're Hannah Guy, right? Or unless you're the 2 people who got knocked out. Otherwise, it's just painful to watch. She's still very, very green, and her celebration was very over the top for this performance.
Yeah, it was wild, actually.
I know she's rebounding and good to get back in the win column, but like, that was like she just won the title. So I'm not going to criticize her for that, but it was definitely a little bit silly in my opinion. But this was just not great.
So why is she ranked?
She's not anymore, thankfully.
They took her off.
Yes.
Great. That's good.
Yeah. And here are my guys. Here's the crew. Don't even got to mention her. Kana Army, where you at? Waving the banner. Oh my goodness. So that was this fight happened. That's all we can leave it at.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm good with it.
What did I text you? Very crappy.
Yeah, I think that's what you said. Hey, we got CEB in the house. Christopher Edwards Bailey over from SCMP. Great to see you over here, man. I think it's the first time I've seen you commenting live. So awesome to have you. Chris, one of the most eloquent speakers out there in the podcasting game at MMA. I would tell you that much. And just a masterful salesman when it comes to reading the sponsors or whatever the show's going on. Just an overall great guy, Christopher Edwards Bailey. So I'm going to give him a wonderful shout out. So everybody is also loving the Kana and Pan-Chan cosplay from this past week or a couple days ago, where they dressed up as Chun-Li. So that was worth a watch, I guess. Yes, it was, I mean, entertaining. I'm not going to go as far to say some of these comments, but there they go, doing their thing. So, all right, that was Bellator 271. Pretty, actually, that was a pretty good card, Steve. I mean, there were a lot of crazy fucking finishes, man. Like, was it was the French guy? It was the guy who got the crazy flying knee. I'm forgetting his name.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
the point and finish, that was nuts. Maori's a monster. I mean, Jesus, give that guy a ranked opponent. What are we doing here, Bellator? Yeah, a lot of good stuff on that card, actually.
You can say that a lot about Bellator, to be fair.
Yes, this is true.
What are you doing? What are you guys doing over there?
That's just how it goes. But anyway, UFC Vegas 42 also happened. So let's break it on down. We just went from the flyweight fights to we're going back to featherweight because this was the weekend of flyweights and featherweights, Steve. So man, this is one I don't really want to talk about too much either because of the division, but it happened. It was brutal. What'd you think of this?
I mean, it's been a while since Leah Letson even fought.
About 3 years.
And she was in there with Felicia Spencer, who's kind of a monster. Third round knockout by punches. You can see the elbow there. I think that elbow bloodied Letson up, right?
Yeah, I mean, multiple. There were some wonderful elbows from Felicia in this one.
Yeah, fucking
Um,
phenomenal fight from Felicia Spencer, though.
Yeah, that was the thing, and or this is the thing, and so mini rant incoming here, as there always is with UFC featherweight for me. But this just continued to highlight the absolute nonsense and kind of problem of the featherweight experiment. Not even a division, an experiment, a failed experiment. It is when you have nobody to fight, and this huge gap between actual legitimate featherweights, Felicia Spencer. I mean, I don't know if I'd say Nunes is a legitimate featherweight because she can obviously make 135, but they have a couple of the absolute best featherweights in the world. Clearly, Felicia is up there as well. Norma beat her, so she's in there now as well. But the gap between them and the people they make them fight is just, it's too wide. And for Leah coming back after, that long layoff, I mean, I didn't see any way that she was going to be able to win this fight. It was a tough matchup. I think that Leah has been a solid prospect prior to leaving, but this was just, always going to go this way under these circumstances. And I'm just so done with it, man. And hopefully the end is coming, because I don't know if you saw, but Dana sounds like he's starting to get to that point where, all right, I mean, it's kind of been there where whatever Amanda wants to do, then we'll get rid of it once she's done with it. We're repeating ourselves so much with this. Dude, it's a broken record here.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that we talk about this every single time that we talk about a featherweight fight. We say the same exact thing over and over and over again. But I mean, we're saying it because that's how we feel. Like, it's just,
it hasn't got better either.
No. I mean, the stupidest thing to me is that they've never put rankings up.
Well,
not even a top 5. Like, it's,
yeah.
You just have the champion and that's it. That's
even a top 3 would suffice.
Dude, something like something to show that you give a fuck. Something. But they've never given a fuck since, other than
5 years, going on 5 years now.
I think they wanted to care when they saw Amanda Nunes and Chris Cyborg, and then Nunes wrecked her, and they were like, all right, well, this is it. And since then, it's just totally fucking tanked.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. It's always been ridiculous. Obviously, from the jump, they had 2 bantamweights fight for the featherweight title. I mean, it's just, could go on and on, but been there, done that. Rue has an idea saying just have the UFC buy Bellator and PFL's divisions. Probably not going to happen, but good thought. I'm going to repeat this as well because I say it every time, but this division is, just at that point of shallowness and still there, that everyone in the world at this weight just needs to be under one roof, and that roof is Bellator. They have an actual division. Everyone needs to go there. PFL's is a blown up 145 fake. Not even. Some of them can make, lighter than that. So
they can.
It's just
shit. They fought at bantamweight.
Yeah, right. So yeah, UFC's not going to do that. No. And I don't think I want them to at this point anyway. Just give up. Just let it go.
Yeah.
And Chris is asking, who you guys think has the best 145 right now? UFC or Bellator? Can Kayla and Megan Anderson elevate Bellator's division above UFC? Well, Chris, as I pretty much just said right there, Bellator has the better division. They have a division. That's the thing. They have a division.
Have one, yeah.
UFC does not have
They have rankings. They have a division. They have a great champion. They have contenders, whereas we can't say anything other than champion for the UFC.
Yep, they have Amanda and Felicia, and I don't even count Norma much because she
She doesn't
still
even want to
can
fight
make bantamweight.
at 145.
Yeah,
Like
she
she's
just
okay
wants
with it.
consistency.
Yeah,
Of
she's
course, yeah.
okay with it, but she would rather fight at 135.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a trip, man. Such a trip. Like,
I'm just over it, man. I'm just so done with it.
But Felicia Spencer looked great.
Yeah, she looked awesome. She absolutely dominated. So can't go wrong there.
I mean, Leah Lutson's also a bantamweight.
Yes, yeah, exactly. She has spotted bantamweight as well, and I'm sure that's where she'll be in her next fight, Steve. Pretty likely.
I mean, yeah, it kind of has to happen, I would think.
Right. Yeah. But you know who else looked great? KGB.
Yeah. Andrea Lee beat Cynthia Calvillo, second round knockout or just retirement, I guess. Calvillo had nothing, man. Kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I don't know what's kind of happened with her, and
Well,
I feel like we've been saying.
First of all, she's not using her goddamn fucking wrestling, which she's really good at.
That's what I was getting at. It's been happening for a while now, and it's been baffling that she's just abandoned her wrestling practically entirely. Yes, she tried a little bit in this one, but just not nearly as aggressively as we are used to seeing her.
Yeah,
we're used to seeing her on her come up, looking her best. Not even a single attempt against Andrade. Didn't try to take Chookagian down. Took down Jessica Ai, which, look at that. She looked great in that fight, won fairly comfortably. Other than that, we haven't really seen it since the Marina fight. Like, she's just completely gotten away from it. And it's not, not helping her very much, obviously. But at the same time, Andrea Lee was just sensational in this fight as well, Steve. Like,
she's turned it around, man.
Yeah, like maybe her best performance, at least in the UFC. Yeah, she looked fantastic here, but at the same time, Cynthia did not come in with the game plan she should have. So it's weird. I'm very curious to see what she does next. Because is that 3 in a row now? I mean, this is Chookagian, then Andrade, and then this one, I'm pretty sure. So crazy, very crazy. And kind of rough and sad, like you were saying, especially to see her kind of admit defeat in the corner or whatever. Didn't get audio on that moment, but you could see that she was
defeated,
accepting it there. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, but she looked
mentally gone.
It wasn't there. Yeah, such a bummer.
Yeah,
hate to see that.
Yeah, and Yusuf saying fast track and Calvillo to the top 15 versus I was a mistake. There should have been a slow build. Yep, very, very, very true. I did always think that was kind of interesting that they did throw her. I mean, I think we all agree that Jessica I wasn't, number 1 or 2 where she was ranked at that time that she fought Calvillo, but since she was, that was a big jump for her to move divisions like that. But yeah, it obviously would have been better Yusuf. So who knows? We'll see what happens. As Ghost says, Calvillo has some really bad cage awareness. She put herself against the cage for Andrade and bent down for Lee's front kicks and triangle kicks. That is
why
true.
does she lower herself? Like, maybe she was thinking I'm gonna go for the takedown, and then she got kicked. I don't know. Like, it's undisciplined, I think.
Yeah. It's just odd, sometimes these kind of things happen, maybe more mental issues. Because I mean, we know what she can do, right? It's just a matter of making it happen, it seems like. But Ghost also mentioning, not to mention, like in that pick, Calvillo likes to dip her head when she attacks. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not exactly the best striker. I mean, she's kind of wild striking. I just she's a wrestler. Like, use your wrestling for fuck's sake. Use your wrestling.
I mean, her boxing was good early on, but it's because she mixed in her wrestling a lot more too. Like that really helped a lot. But now it's just become practically straight up her trying to box, which is clearly not going well.
That doesn't work. You can't just think you're a striker all of a sudden and lose what you're actually really good at.
And the weirdest thing I think about this case with her is the fact that she's seen it not work like two direct times before this now. So it's like it's just very interesting. But
So Scott actually brings up a fair point. Can it
right? Yeah, he did mention this too.
She was able to bully fighters at strawweight, but at 125, no dice. That's fair.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think you mentioned that to me on Twitter too, so I'm glad you mentioned that now, Scott. Yeah, very true. Very, very true. She's in a weird spot in that regard where this seemed like the strawweight cuts obviously became maybe a little bit too much for her, but then yeah, at 125, some of these girls are just a bit more built for the division, or just stronger. So yeah, that's very true.
Well, Andrea Lee,
and welcome in Mr. Beckham and Dave, by the way.
Hello, guys.
What were you saying there? Sorry.
No, Andrea Lee looked great in this fight, though. Like, we're talking about Calvillo, which she, like, how disappointing it's been. But Andrea Lee deserves all the props because she looked great in the 2 rounds that she put on.
Oh yeah, 100%. She should be pretty close to a title shot now. I mean, that's 2 in a row. Cynthia was ranked 9-10-ish. I don't think 2 fights maybe max. Give her somebody up there.
Andrea Lee is at number 7 now.
Okay, yeah.
She went up 5.
Maybe you could do
7.
Maybe not Lauren Murphy rematch, but either way, she's looking awesome right now before this fight as well. So
Chikajian would be good.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. That might be the one to go with. So Go says, while I agree with Steve that she needs to use her wrestling, she needs to strike into wrestling exchanges since it's easy to stuff takedowns without the threat of strikes. And that's kind of what she did so well on the come up, right? And I mentioned her boxing there was working when she mixed in her wrestling like she did at strawweight. So good point there, Ghost, for sure. Dave pointing out how Andrea looked way bigger. Yeah, I mean, she's a natural flyweight for sure.
Yeah.
Whereas
Calvillo, I mean, Calvillo literally fought most of her career at 115.
Yep, exactly. And Go saying, unless you are Khabib, you can't just close the distance with just wrestling. Shooting from distance is not the smartest thing to do. That is accurate. I mean, some other people can make it work, but yes, that's the very best example, Ghost. Dave saying Calvillo suspended between the weight divisions. Yeah, I'll bet. And he agrees that it would be a fun fight with Chookagian.
Yeah, I like that.
Stamina is here as well. Hope everyone is of good health and good cheer. Thanks for tuning in, pal. So yeah, Andrea Lee looked awesome. Cynthia Calvillo, we'll see what's next for her. Dana likes her a lot, so I don't know if they would cut her, but she should take some time, sort some things out. Obviously,
she literally just changed gyms. She just changed gyms. It's not a gym thing. She's not going to change gyms again, I don't think. think it's in her head, man.
Yeah, very well might be. As Dave says, Calvillo is a great case for dirty boxing against the cage, especially against a lengthy fighter like KGB. Wouldn't hurt to try. All right. So last fight of UFC Vegas 42, also in the flyweight division. And Courtney Casey back in the win column. Steve, what do you think of this fight?
Yeah, I actually didn't see her beating Joshua.
You didn't think she would, or you didn't see it?
I didn't think that she
Okay.
would. She
Okay.
definitely won the fight, but I didn't like going in. I wouldn't have picked Courtney Casey to beat Joshua.
Really?
I wouldn't. No, I don't think so. Joshua's looked good recently.
I mean, you might be forgetting. She had the Maverick fight before this one.
Well,
Didn't look great
I mean, Miranda
there.
Maverick.
Yeah. But then
Miranda
before
Maverick
that,
would beat Courtney Casey too.
yes, that's true. But before that, she had the Diana Belbita loss, she won that fight, but Belbita was piecing her up on the feet, knocked her down, and then, kind of stupidly ran into her guard and got submitted there. Then before that was the bantamweight fight where she looked very bad against Sarah Morris.
Okay. Maybe Jojo was not that good.
Yeah, she is all right from the bottom.
Maybe I want JoJo to be better than what she is.
That could be it, because her striking is just very kind of surprisingly not there, and as a result, she also missed weight for this fight, and now she is no longer in the UFC. They cut her after this, so if
that's
you
how
guys,
bad she was, I guess.
Yeah, if you guys did not see that news, there's some news for you before we get to the news. Yeah, just rough. Courtney Casey looked great here, and it's funny because it was like, I think it was safe to say, looking at the careers of, if you kind of just look at Joshua, you've seen that her striking is not great. So it was safe to assume her best path to victory was on the ground, where she has, gotten most of her wins. And the fight IQ was just kind of bad in this one because she got late takedowns, Steve. What was in the first two rounds? What do we got here? Looking at the stats. Definitely the first round. It was the first and third round. She got the late takedowns way too late. Like, they were pretty easy, but she went for them at the absolute wrong time. Like, it maybe could have been different for her, but she just waited far too long and got pieced up the entire fight. Casey looked great on the feet, but again, not exactly the best striking coming back at her, but is what it is, I guess. So, yeah. Litchfield asking.
At least we got to see Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez.
That was definitely a treat. But Litchfield says, you guys think Jojo signs with Bellator or Invicta? IMO, she should have to go to Invicta or LFA.
Invicta would be good, I guess.
I think, yeah. I like the Invicta or LFA option there, Litchfield. Bellator, I don't think she should go to, but if she does, it would be because she's teammates and best friends with Diana Absaragova and Irina Alexieva. Maybe they have some pull because they're winning, but I don't think that's really the best idea for Jojo until she really works on some of these issues she's having as well. Invicta still might even be tough for her, but that's probably a better option. But we'll see. We'll see what she does next. Yeah, so good performance from Casey, though. She looked good out there.
Yeah,
got the win, a much needed win. And she got a little extra money for Jojo missing weight. So that's always nice if you win. A little extra. But all right. So that was UFC Vegas 42, right as we approach the 1 hour mark. Whole lot of fights to talk about. Plenty more things to get into here right now. Yes, stamina. Jojo got the scissors. Is it yesterday? I think they said that. Either way, yep, she is gone, along with a couple others, which we will talk about here momentarily, as Steve mentions Gonzo. But it's time for the mailbag, and we got actually a pretty decently sized collection of mail here today. I believe somebody chimed in on your tweet right after, or right earlier today, and then we got some here from my tweet, which let me pull up momentarily. Here it is. Starting off with Mr. Beckham, who I believe is here in the chat still. He's asking a little bit about the upcoming fight this weekend, where he's saying, with a Tate win, title shot. I believe I've seen her live twice. Great build-up to her fights, and I believe she was on the wrong end of both of them. Ronda was the first one after the Ultimate Fighter, and the next one was UFC 200. So, Steve, a little bit of a mini preview for the preview, but does Misha get the title shot with the win? What do we think?
I mean, probably. She probably does. UFC loves her. She's incredibly marketable. She's a former champ. Yeah. She's a former champion. She's well known. Yeah, I mean,
looked great in her last fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is the makings, I think, for a title shot. I would much rather see her get a title shot than Holly Holm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think she 100% is going to get a title shot if she wins, and especially and almost solely because of the fact that GDR and Aldana didn't happen. Like, let's say Irene wins that one. Still not exactly a lock, but a pretty good chance. Dana likes her a lot, and I mean, she would have earned it with that. But now that that fight didn't happen, it pretty much leaves the path completely paved for Misha here if she wins, and especially if she looks as good as she did in her last time out. Right.
And she's everywhere, man. She has her own couple of a podcast with Renee Paquette on SiriusXM, and then she does shows with Jimmy Smith. She's everywhere, man. She does media like crazy. It would be perfect for the UFC if Misha Tate were to get a title shot.
Yeah, big time rematch, easily sellable. That would be that'd be too easy.
She sells it herself.
Yeah. And Yusuf mentioning what I did. Aldana will if she beats GDR, yes, but we don't know when that's happening. We don't know when that's happening yet. Yusuf, I wish it would have happened 2 weeks ago or whenever UFC 268 was. But so. All right, and Rue coming into the mailbag while we're looking in. He says, well, since we were doing the mailbag, why did Henry Cejudo get flack for training Whaley and now getting flack for training John Jones? What's wrong with training people who want to improve themselves? Well, I think that there's a lot more justifiable flack for John Jones, Rue, than Whaley. There's no reason for him to get flack for Whaley, but John Jones, who was literally just kicked out of his gym, and now he's picking up the scraps. And a guy who, got some problematic stuff going on. That's a little bit more understandable. Yeah, sure. There's nothing wrong with wanting to improve yourself, but
what does it even matter where John Jones goes or Whaley goes or whomever? What does it matter where they go to train? Fighters train with fighters. They literally go and travel for just training sessions. What does it matter that John Jones is training with Henry Cejudo? Henry Cejudo is one of the best wrestlers out there. He was a former champion, division champion. He was literally a 2-division champion. He's an Olympic medalist, gold medalist. What the fuck? What does it fucking matter where John Jones goes?
Well, there you go.
I mean, Drake, does it matter? Does it matter who Henry Cejudo brings in?
I mean, he can do whatever he wants.
Exactly.
So,
Dude, the best want to train with the best, no?
yeah, exactly. So.
Habib was training with Daniel Cormier. They were champions together at the same time. Nobody was talking shit about Habib training with Daniel Cormier.
Yeah. Well, bigger, more problematic personalities, I suppose.
No, I mean, yeah, I get it. John Jones is a dickhead. Fine. But I mean, the man still has to train somewhere, right? He's not going to be training in his fucking garage.
Well, he ain't fighting right now, so
yeah, but he's got to kind of get himself right, and I think training, staying fit and training would help him do that.
Yeah. So Rue responding here to you.
Fucking hilarious. Who the fuck's calling him a communist for bringing in Whaley? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, you know how the community is.
Fucking idiots, these people. Like, I don't even think that people know what communism is. Like, I don't think that people really know what communism is, and they just fucking call people communists because they think because they think it's fucking, you know, cool to say communism. You're a communist.
Well, if you're making those kind of comments, then you're obviously racist. So that's how that goes. And Chuck chiming in as well, saying, John Jones beat his wife. That's why people have a hard time with Henry training him. And that's kind of what I was alluding to, obviously.
Right, but he still has the right to train. I get it. Like I said, he's a dickhead. Yes, he's an asshole. He's a piece. He's might be a piece of shit. You know, I mean, but he still has to train, and Henry Cejudo has the right to bring in whoever he wants to bring in.
Yeah.
What Henry Cejudo is doing is building a stable.
It's a crazy place over there right now. Fight ready. So Stamina saying, I'll wager those aren't the same people for both fighters, and even if they are, so what? You place too much stock in that sort of fuckery, Rue. Starve that nonsense of oxygen. It's the way forward. There you go. Wise words from Stamina. Yeah. As we continue sifting through the mailbag here. Sammy, I see you. We'll get to you here in a sec. Let's go back a little bit. So Scott asking about KGB and Lee. We kind of, we did talk about that just now, but specifically he's asking who should be next for both KGB, Lee, and Calvillo. I think we can agree, Steve, that we like the Chukagian one. I think that's good.
I think Chukagian's a good fight for Andrea Lee. Calvillo needs to get her shit right. She needs to take time off because she came back. I feel like she came back too fast from that Andrade loss.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So depending on kind of where things are at the time, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, if Calvillo if she takes time off, like we kind of think she should, and sort things out. Don't know how long that will be and who will be where in the division, but I would say somebody like around the back end of the top 15. I think that's pretty fair to say. Right. I mean, she just lost 3 in a row. So
yeah. And there's a lot of hungry girls in that division moving up.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe Molly might not be a bad one. She's got some wins now.
She's not, is she ranked?
I don't know. I don't think so, but she's somebody who's not ranked and then coming off wins. Maybe do that, because obviously Calvillo getting 4 in a row would be less than ideal, but that's a reasonable fight, I think.
Molly likes to strike. So yeah, I think it would be the same shit over again.
And at the same time, literally at the same time, Yusuf and Scott both just mentioned Calvillo versus Fearow. He says, you guys will become cruel, but how about that fight? Would be good for Menon. Yeah, it would be very good for her, but not for Calvillo. So, I also saw, it's funny you mentioned that, Scott, because I saw mentions of Fearow versus Andrea Lee as well, which I love that fight at some point. When that happens, it's going to be amazing. Shouldn't be next though, because Andrea should fight upward after that win. So I wouldn't do that one next, but Fearow versus Calvillo, more logical. But yeah, that's definitely a rough fourth potential loss for Calvillo. Yeah. And Ghost is curious about what we have to say about Sammy's question coming up right now. So let's look at it. I kind of glanced over it. So let's take a gander here. I think he even tagged you, didn't he, Ghost? So he really wanted you to see that. Let's get into it, Sammy. Thanks for asking, but I know you're watching, maybe not live. I know you go back and watch, but here we are, Steve. This is a little bit of a doozy, I think, but from what I did see, he says in Chris Barnett versus Jean Vallante, Barnett was doing the Superman punch or Superman jab into run up low kick and slapping the leg with his foot. DC and Rogan were saying that that's not a real low kick and should not score, and it's not doing any damage. But that was the entire output of Valentina Shevchenko against Amanda Nunes too. It was the only technique that she used. Valentina kept getting backed up against the fence and doesn't like it, so she jumps over the top of Nunes's guard and runs up and does a slappy low kick. Slappy. And then he says, but DC and Rogan praised her for that, saying that she's been very effective. Why is there such a double standard with certain fighters? And then he shouts out Ghost. So what do you make of that?
I don't know. That's a lot.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah. Is this Yusuf?
So
Yusuf,
Sammy.
Are you going by a different name?
Chuck says he apparently got it from Jack Slack.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, well, I don't even know how to fucking answer this.
I didn't hear that commentary since I was at that fight, and I don't remember it.
I don't listen to commentary.
Yeah, Steve doesn't listen. I don't remember that for the Valentina fight, but probably, I guess, if I was to give you a solid answer here.
Christopher, calm down. Calm down, guy.
You're saying he doesn't like DC and Rogan together. Mrs. Dominic, my man, he knows what's up. Need more Cruz on there.
Nobody misses Dominic Cruz.
Oh, we all do.
Wow.
But yeah, my best, I guess, answer I could give you, Sammy, would be maybe Valentina performed it better. I'm sure her technique was a lot better than Chris Barnett's. I would have to go back and watch, but I think that's a pretty safe guess. It's been a while since I've seen that rematch, but maybe so.
Yeah, I don't even know.
And I mean, in general, obviously, Steve, you're going to agree with this, but DC and Rogan, more for entertainment value than legitimate commentary at this stage. Rogan specifically has gotten, worse and worse, I think, over time. DC has some moments, but they're pretty much podcasting when they're on commentary these days, I would say. So don't take it too
And Anik doesn't even talk anymore.
Yeah, you forget he's there. Just reading ads.
Yeah, he literally says the Modelo thing and fucking you don't hear from him for an hour.
Yeah. Stamina saying Jack Slack, haha, shenanigans. His Valentina Shevchenko tweets are like nothing else on earth with a big smiley face.
He's such a hater. It's hilarious.
There you go. Yusuf also misses Dominic. And Dave says Dominic Cruz equals small angry man. How dare you, Dave? You have lost points with me. And he also says
points with me, Dave.
He says DC and Rogan out there together is like boys' night out. In quotes.
It is.
Yes,
it's terrible.
Go says that's hilarious, but DC and Rogan are the same booth that podcast the entire time. Don't take them seriously. Yep, exactly. They are there for entertainment. So, I don't think that was the end. Sorry about that. That was the end for Sammy. Appreciate it regardless, Sammy. Shenanigans, though, you get the shenanigans stamp from Stamina, so sorry about that. I don't make the rules. And then Litchfield, who is here as always, appreciate you, sir. He's asking for any news on Mizuki Inoue and Kanako Murata. So nothing specifically, but they both are coming off of surgeries. Obviously, Mizuki tore her ACL after her last fight, and I mean, that was a good while ago now. So she should be pretty close to coming back, you would think. Right, Steve? You know, just how that recovery goes. Yeah. Roughly a year for most. So she should be pretty close to coming back, I would think, assuming it's all gone well. As for Kanako, had surgery on the elbow after, you know, the Verna loss. So don't think that's as long of recovery time as it would be for ACL. That's, you know, a pretty unique case. But it should be around the same time. Kanako should be getting closer as well. So I think that we should see them soon, I would imagine, if things have gone all fine with their recovery. And I know Kanako's been in the gym recently. I haven't seen if the same is for Mizuki, but I think we're close, Litchell. No specific updates, though, unfortunately. Looking forward to both of them coming back, though. That's for sure. Chris says he loves Cruz's negativity, plus there's nothing wrong with short people. That is true. There we go. Nothing wrong at all. Rue says he liked the question. He thought it was legit. All right, so there you go, Sammy. Get some points from Rue. Jin says, haha, Sammy for the award for question of the day. All right, you get some more points from Jin as well. Dave says, Drake and Steven. Have either of you watched Tango on Netflix? The Fogot story.
My mom actually calls me Esteban, but I mean, that's like, yeah, that's like, fuck, nobody calls me Steven, dude.
Oh my god, that's one of the funniest things we've had on the show in a while. I'm gonna start calling you Steven now.
I legit don't know when the last time I was called Steven. Like, that's
I think I used to call you Steven fucking when we started the show. I think so, like when we first met each other, because I think you had it as Steven on like your Slack or whatever. So I was like,
no way.
I think so,
no
dude.
No, there's no way that I had Steven on my Slack, dude. I've literally never gone by Steven, like, in my entire fucking life.
I might be thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, not me, Drake.
I know with Alexander, I generally call him Alexander because that's how, you know, he spells it out, but I'll call him Alex every now and then. Shout out to you, man, if you're tuning in. Been a while since we caught up, but yeah, that's hilarious. Either way, Dave, no, I haven't seen it yet. I honestly don't get around to watching as much like shows and movies as I would like to these days. I generally just play games in my free time. At least I have lately. So no, but is it good? Have you seen this, Steve?
I have not.
Cool that she
should we watch it? I guess we should watch it.
Yeah, I mean, before the finals, right? She's taking on the finals now.
I didn't even know that they made something about her. That's cool.
Netflix? Yeah, I'm assuming it's kind of based around her whole family, I would imagine. But
yeah. What was it? No. Speaking of Netflix, what was I gonna say about Netflix? Something on there. It'll come back.
Okay. Jimmy says, if Ghost thought that question was funny, then it's legit. There you go. More points, Sammy. Chris is asking, with the big names, Tate at plus 100. Interesting. Loma at plus 138 and JoJo at plus 260. Which one would you guys bet on this weekend? Well, Chris, we're going to save that for the preview. I'm not going to answer that right now because that is exactly the talk we'll get into there. Because we got the odds and everything up when we talk about that. Good question, though. Unless you want to make a quick bet here.
No, we can talk about it during the show. Bring this back up.
Right. All right. What do we got here? Rain says, anytime I see Valentina slander, I give it a thumbs up. All right. Everybody's jumping on that. Stamina says you got to catch a screener of Bruised today. That is Halle Berry's movie with Valentina as well.
Oh, look at you, Stamina. Yeah. I want to see a screener Bruised.
Worth a watch when it drops on Netflix. It's not a fight movie, but the combat is actually fairly well portrayed. I would hope so. If Valley had real fighters helping her out.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear. It's very good to hear. The trailer, I mean, I saw like a little clip from it, and people were not too impressed with it. I don't even remember actually what it looked like. So I'm pretty blind about the movie, other than that back knowledge I have, having spoken to Shannon about it and everything. But yes.
I know what I was going to ask you.
Dave real quick says he needed this and he missed us. Missed you too.
Oh, Dave. There's that documentary about Nico Montano. Yeah. Interesting.
I did not get to see that yet either, but I've interacted with the director a little bit actually. So there's clearly, there's stuff going on with that whole situation right now.
Yep.
So did you see that one? What'd you make of that?
Interesting. Very interesting. How about you watch it and then we'll talk about it on the show?
All right, good idea.
I think
what's it on, by the way?
Shit, he sent me the link. I don't even know.
Okay.
I don't think it's on anything.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. So I could probably ask him as well.
Yeah, I think it's like some weird fucking link. Actually, I don't know if it's still showing it. I think it was like the weekend showing or something like that. I don't even know, man. It was interesting though. It was interesting. There are things that were kind of offensive toward Nico Montano in that documentary.
Okay. I will have to check it out, definitely, because obviously following that story fairly closely. So yeah, we'll get back to that one maybe next week if I find something.
I'll try to find it, and I see you, Dave. I'll try to find it for you.
Oh yeah, there we go. And Dave says must watch for Dangal. It's the family story, as I thought. Cool. Jin says he saw the Fogot movie since Whaley references it on her English teacher's YouTube channel. Okay. On are we talking about Ramiz or somebody else here, Jin? Let me know about that. Yeah, very cool though. Let's see what else we got. All right. So that is it for that part of the mailbag. But like I said, I believe that there were some in Steve's. So let me scroll on down here. And Steve's is part of the mailbag. Yeah, Yusuf came in. We got some potential Yusuf shenanigans, guys. What do we got here? I didn't see this. Yusuf in the mailbag. There he goes. He brings it up. He said it's questions. Someone said on the Dan Hardy podcast, they know someone around Whaley's camp who said the following. Whaley has loads of potential to get better, but there are fundamentals she's not good at as they don't work on it in China. Would you believe this statement?
But did they say what exactly they were? I don't know if I believe it or not. I think I need to know what she needs to get better at, what they think she needs to get better at. What does she need to get better at? I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of a question or phrase that needs not phrase, but quote that needs a little more context, a little bit more specifics. Like you said, they're like,
well, what are the specific fundamentals that she's not good at?
Right.
That's what we need to know. That what they think. Whoever said that, what they think the fundamentals are. If Yusuf, you're here, if you remember or whatever, if they said it, what are the fundamentals, and then we can go back and.
Yeah, I mean, the person's perspective, whoever said that, they could be coming from a perspective of, I don't know, let's say a boxing background or somewhere not related to Asia, China necessarily, because obviously for a lot of Chinese fighters, their roots will be rooted, I guess you could say, in Sanda, because that's the biggest, martial art that they generally practice. So
you said they weren't even specified, so we have no idea what they're even talking about.
Yeah, but Yeah, exactly. Ghost mentioning it too. Fundamentals. What do you consider a fundamental? There's fundamentals in striking and wrestling, and grappling. Be specific. Yeah, it's hard to. You can't really answer, Yusuf. But
No, I mean, literally can't answer it without knowing the context. As Dave says, it's an open-ended question. We literally don't know.
that's one of those dumb things. Then it's like, why even mention that on the podcast? Why even do that?
Yeah,
if you're not gonna be
yeah,
specific
exactly.
about it.
I mean, dude, if you're gonna say something, say it with your chest. Like, just fucking put your name to what you're saying.
Yeah. Interesting, but Jin says yes. We were talking about Ramiz. Whaley says wrestling father movie is very good. Ritu wins TKO, very good. Was this recent, Jin, or I'm curious about this more. Tell me a little bit more about it though, because I know that Ramiz hadn't worked with Whaley since pre-pandemic, obviously, but yeah, Ramiz is the man. So definitely, if you guys have not gone and checked out his channel before, the English Journey with Whaley, brilliant content from him, brilliant stuff. Very, very jealous of what he's been able to do, but props to him. And then Yusuf also asking, why did Whaley struggle to land her power shots versus Rose? Her ability to understand distance wasn't good. Steve, you being the wrestling guy, how good was Whaley's wrestling versus Rose, and can she apply it versus the rest of the division?
I mean, she looked all right against Rose Namajunas, right?
I mean, she arguably won because of that.
Yeah. That especially what the final round, or was it the
third round?
The third round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking 3-round fight.
That was the thing. That was the thing about that. Just to go back to it, was in that third round, up until the last minute, it was very, very tight. You know, it was very close. And then Whaley hits that excellent takedown. I believe it was kind of a single kind of trip. She pushed her over. Remember, she got her hand like on the side of her face and kind of pushed her over when she's off balance. Yeah. Gets on her back. When I was watching that live, I thought her arm was under her neck for the rear naked, but she got on her back. She was working for it. Then Whaley gets to mount with like 10 to 5 seconds left, right? And she lands a big fucking elbow and maybe a punch after that, just like 2 shots. And it's like that dominant minute right there. It's like those were some good positions. Obviously, she didn't have it for too long. And how much damage did she do with it? That kind of thing. But that was some effective control. Like, that was kind of the sway I think a lot of people had for that third round, and maybe even swayed me on the rewatch. And it was like, man, she very well could have finished that if there was more time. If that wasn't the end of the round, Rose was in deep trouble in that spot. So, yeah, it's pretty good, pretty good in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that she did a good job.
She had 5 takedowns total, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Look, Rose isn't the best at. She gets taken down fairly easily.
We've seen Tisha do it. Obviously, we saw Carla do it.
Yeah, but also those Carla. It is going to happen. Carla, that's what she does. She drives people until she gets them their ass on the mat. But Whaley for Whaley to do it when she's not known, when she's more known as a striker.
Yeah.
I don't think it says a lot about Whaley.
Yeah. I think that's fair. So
she's clearly worked on that, being in Henry Cejudo's camp.
Surprise, surprise.
Right.
What do you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's again, we're gonna go back to Henry Cejudo. It's not shocking to me that he's getting people to come to his gym. Not shocking at all. You might not like him for whatever reasons or whatever. He might be a tiny little man and a douchebag or whatever, but I mean, he's a champion and he's very good at what he does. He might be a good teacher.
Yeah, I think that is definitely safe to say. Get a text. And mentioning Nico too, she's also going to fight ready. I don't know if you heard her interview with Damon Martin today, Steve, but yeah, she's also going down there.
I don't see. That's also very.
She's
good.
Also from Arizona, though, right? So
no, New Mexico.
Oh, right, yeah, that area.
But close enough, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, Dave. Like, why wouldn't anybody go and train with that man if he's bringing people in? Why wouldn't? I mean, I think it was smart for Whaley to go. Sure, she lost the fight, but 5 takedowns without going to a camp with Henry Cejudo, she might only have 1. 5 takedowns.
Yeah, definitely true.
Pretty good.
James asking, this one is for us, of course. He says, Whaley's distance control was really good, but why does everyone seem to believe that she did bad? Probably, I would imagine, because the wrestling maybe overshadowed everything for some people, because we don't see that too often from her in the UFC. And then there were, I feel like, a lot of times, at least from what I remember on that rewatch, where she was maybe on the back foot a little bit more than Rose was. So automatically that makes people feel like you're not doing very well from a distance management perspective, perhaps. But he also adds that Jack Slack says she did a great job forcing Rose to overextend, but Yusuf seems to believe that only closing the distance is the only answer. Well, I mean, she hurt Rose, and Rose hurt her as well. I mean, it was
a very much back and forth fight.
Yeah, it's interesting though to see kind of all the different analytical takeaways people have been having about this. Because last week, Steve, I don't remember who mentioned it, but they were saying that some of the other people they watch, might have been Sammy actually, or that there's been people saying that this was like Whaley's worst performance. Is like, whoa, well, I think that's either objectively wrong because she arguably won, or her worst is pretty damn good if you think that was her worst when she, again, arguably won. So it's like, I would not agree with that, but
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, very interesting takes here. Scott chiming in saying he misses Triple C.
I'm sure there's going to be. Everybody has an opinion, man. You've heard it. Everybody has an opinion, right? Everybody. You and I agree a lot, Drake, but we also disagree. People disagree and agree on things, no matter where you come from, what you've been through in your lives. We agree, we disagree. It's just what it is. I don't give a shit what people think on social media. Literally don't care anymore. Like I used to look a lot into it and all that crap. I've been less on social media the past month for reasons. There are specific reasons for that. I can't stand the new
Mike Florio.
Oh God, dude.
I haven't even seen what he's been doing. Triggered. I just triggered him.
Oh man. I cannot fucking stand that bastard. Him and Adam Schefter can both fucking suck a dick.
Completely derailed that. Anyway, yeah. I get what you're getting at.
Social media is a cesspool of opinions. Look, everybody has one, man. It's just weed out the people that really matter. Weed them out. Weed out the people whose opinions really matter. And if their opinions don't matter to you, fuck everybody else.
Can't argue with that.
You can't let what other people think get to you. Like you can't. You shouldn't let what you're gonna disagree with almost everybody on social media. If there's opinions out there, you're gonna disagree with everybody. Just fuck them.
Well said.
Dude, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Stamina says, here's my question. Why do people consistently come here asking for explanations of opinions that nobody here actually espouses? That is a good question.
Right. Like who gives a shit about these people?
Yeah.
If these people start coming onto our chat and start asking these questions, then obviously Drake and I are going to answer them. Until then, I can give a fuck what they think.
There we go. And Yusuf saying he just thought Whaley didn't land enough of her power shots. All right. Fair take.
Fair.
And James, don't know exactly which ones you're talking about, so please remind us if you would like. Dave saying, Drake Dominic Cruz is a small angry man. Why are we going back to this, Dave? Come on now. He's my small angry man. Don't you disrespect me on my own show. Yes, I do. Okay. Ghost says, guys, I got to meet Whaley and see her train. All the stuff she did was part of the game plan. There were certain things she was supposed to do in the 4th and 5th round, but overall good stuff from her. Yeah, seemed like she followed it pretty well. Choo-choo, motherfucker. All right. Dave trolling you, saying, can you explain it further? Not sure I get it. And Ghost says, and you guys need to realize her approach to striking and creating angles gives her better defense. That is very true as well. But all right, we can get out of the mailbag there, right at the 1 hour.
I don't know if you saw, but I gave.
I saw. I definitely did. Gotta love it. All right, let's get to the news. Here we go. Oh, Stamina throwing out the the bait there.
Yeah.
All right, news time. As we have a couple of shakeups and some announcements of sorts, but we'll kick things off with a shakeup, Steve. So here we go at 115. Shake them up.
Silvana Juarez Gomez steps in for Ashley Yoder, and she'll be taking on Vanessa Demopoulos on January 15th.
Yeah, so I like this a lot, mainly because I'm happy to see Silvana get another shot and at strawweight. Even though I guess the first fight with Loopy was at strawweight. Why are you making us big here?
Did I do that?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think that was at all a good indicator of what Silvana is capable of. I think she's a whole lot better than what she did not get to show in that first fight with Loopy. She was just on a warpath. It was short notice, and again, this is short notice too, but more notice than that other changeup. Yoder and Demopoulos would have been all right. That was fine matchmaking as well. Good to see Demopoulos at 115 also, because her debut in her last fight was at 125. I don't even remember who it was against, but who did she fight, Steve? Do you remember? This is going to kill me now. Who did Vanessa debut against?
Look it up.
Don't know. But either way, yeah, great to see Silvana back with some more time, I guess. And then it should be a fun matchup with Vanessa Demopoulos. So there you go. I know some people were saying she should go back to flyweight after that fight, but we'll see how this one goes first, I think. Obviously, Silvana spent most of her career. That's who it was. Yeah, JJ looked great in that one. And, of course, Vanessa is much more fit for strawweight. Well, she's like 5 feet tall, isn't she? Not very big. But
she's 5'2".
Right. So, yeah, this should be a fun one. I'm just glad to see Silvana back. And Ghost.
A very marketable fight.
Yeah, and Ghost with the insight saying, man, I saw Demopoulos rolling with Whaley. Don't know if it's going to translate to a win, though. Yeah, that's safe to wonder about. I mean, Valerie Loretta training with Joanna has not translated very well, if I'm going to be honest. It has not, just how it is. But hey, still keep training with them, that's for sure. And then
maybe
says
she
it was
should go to Henry Cejudo's camp.
Yeah, maybe. It was only jiu-jitsu though, so I don't know if that's going to help her improve. I mean, Mallory Martin spars with Rose, but that didn't help her. Yeah. I think in these cases, it's like they don't train with them for long enough, so it's kind of easy to jump on seeing how it doesn't work. But if they can commit to staying with these, of course, bigger names, which is harder to do, then of course it's going to get better down the line. But easier said than done. So, yeah. All right. As we move on now to the sad news, and this is a mixture. I should probably fix the ticker, but probably not gonna because I'm lazy. But we had some losses, Steve, as Livia Hanata Souza was released after the Randa Marcos loss. But in addition to Souza, Randa has also not been re-signed, and it doesn't sound like she's gonna be re-signed. Livia is putting the finger up for Dave there.
We agree.
Crazy kind of to see, just considering how, a fall from grace a little bit, coming into the UFC. Again, one of those boneheaded matchups, one of my most frustrating matchups to see when she debuted against Alex Chambers, made 0 sense. And then things after that just kind of did not unfold how we would have thought, Steve, because Livia at one point was a top 10 strawweight worldwide, obviously former champion, as you can see there. And I actually still haven't got to see that Randa fight, so I'm really slacking on catching up on that one. But apparently Randa looked awesome, which I love to hear. And then
Randa
a big bummer for Randa to not get re-signed after that. So I would imagine she's probably in a good spot to get picked up somewhere else. And Livia, I could see her going back to Invicta for sure, Steve, right? I mean, that seems fair.
Yeah, why wouldn't they pick her back up?
You have her fight, let's say Juliana Lima, if she beats Lima, then, or somebody like that, then against Dakota. If Dakota's still around, I'd love to see that. Why not? I mean, maybe 2 wins, because obviously it's been a rough skid for Livia, but
yeah, she can turn it around.
Yeah. So
against less opponents.
Right. And James saying this makes Hamasaki's loss to Souza even worse. And I disagree with that, James, because at the time that was prime Souza, right? Steve, I mean, you look at that was when she was
pretty damn good at that point.
Yeah. And Hamasaki has gotten only better since then. So if they fought now, I guarantee it's not going the same way.
Flick. Yeah, it would be Flick. Hamasaki would win that fight now.
Yeah. But I understand what you're saying. He says crazy she hasn't win over the GOAT. It upsets me just to know it. Yeah, it would have been great,
But that's when she was really good though. That's when we thought, Jake and I literally thought this could be a champion right here in the UFC.
Yeah, Olivia was no joke. Obviously, she was able to knock out Hamasaki that way she did, and Hamasaki was the Invicta champ at that time at atomweight. So yeah, that was kind of like not a champ versus champ fight, but kind of, because I think that fight, if my memory is right, was right after Souza lost to Angela Hill in that classic that they had. That was one of the best fights you'll ever see.
Yeah,
doesn't get talked about enough. Very competitive.
Everybody's favorite, Angela Hill.
Yeah. But happens, James. It would have been cool, of course, if Ayaka could have got the win, maybe double champed it in Invicta, then made it to the UFC, because that was her goal. That was the whole point. She told me her whole reason for going to Strawweight was to try and get in the UFC, and unfortunately, just the bigger gals in Souza and Claudia turned her back a little bit, but she ended up crafting a pretty good career for herself regardless. So is what it is. Stamina says Randa fought her little heart out versus Livia. A shame it wasn't enough. Feels bad, man. Yeah, and that was the her rebound win, right? To snap the losing streak. So she knew she needed that one, and still, I mean, she still could get re-signed, Steve. Like, we shouldn't say that it's out of question, but obviously at the moment, she's a free agent, and who knows if what could end up happening is, of course, there could be somebody who falls out. That's always an option. But once they are thinking about getting somebody, an opponent, maybe they could offer her the fight contract there, and it'll be 3-4 fights, however many. They're just waiting to set it up, like, instead of re-signing her right away. That could be what's going to happen. Like, we'll see. It very well might not be the end for Randa in the UFC, but that's how obviously everyone's taking it right now. So, good body to have at strawweight, obviously. But
yeah, I mean, she would for sure take fights on short notice.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And then Dave says he thinks Dakota will be moving up to the UFC soon. Possible, definitely possible. We'll see how that plays out.
Man. I don't know. I don't think they want to lose her, man.
I mean, why would you after that last win? Yeah.
Yeah. They've literally told or have said they want to keep their people.
Yes, that is true. And Emily, obviously, she would like to be in the UFC at some point, but when I spoke to her, she sounded like content, defending and really laying her claim there.
Yeah.
So, we'll see again how it plays out. But all right. Ghost saying Souza hasn't changed her game. Hamasaki has a bunch of layers in her striking since Souza beat her. Very, very true. Stamina says 115 is so damn stacked. They don't need to keep her. That is also true. I'm sure she's not even the highest paid chick out there, but Dana went nuts with the puppy mill this season. Nobody is indispensable. That is a good point. Yeah. I mean, Randa having been around since 2013, that actually does make her more expensive by default, especially with like the Reebok deal and everything. But as with each fight, if my memory is correct here, I did a research piece on this. Every single fight, unless you like make some big negotiation with every fight or every 2 fights, fighters' purses, their pay goes up by like $2,000. Yeah. So Randa has like the most fights in the UFC strawweight history. So she's actually probably making it pretty good.
Yeah, that's probably why they asked for better. They were like, all right, enough of this. Yeah, we gotta get these fighters that are 10-10.
Yeah, gosh, no kidding. So good point there, Stamina. Bummer, but if she, she'll find a home, I think. It might have to be a flyweight though. If she like goes to Bellator, she might have to move up.
Could be Bellator, yeah. I think she would fit in Bellator.
There'd be some fun fights, and I don't think Randa's ever fought at flyweight too, so could be interesting. But all right, enough of the sadness. As we move on to pretty interesting matchup here, Steve, at bantamweight.
Yeah, Sarah McMahon versus Carol Hosa, March 26th. God, we're going into.
That's like the latest.
Spring now.
That is like the latest. My goodness. Yeah, this is obviously big step up for Carol in terms of name and climbing the ladder, and appropriate. Obviously, Sarah was supposed to take on Ketlin Vieira in their rematch maybe a month ago or so, right? And then Misha came in because Sarah got injured. Now here we are, all the way in March. Fingers crossed that this fight happens, because Carol has had some bad luck with getting fights too. But
long time away, man.
Yeah, this is. I think this is awesome. Awesome matchmaking. Great fight. Great stylistically. Makes sense rankings wise. All that kind of thing. One of those fights where I'm kind of bummed that somebody's got to lose, but hey, we're just at that point, aren't we? If Carol gets the win here, I mean, she's going to be right up there in that mix. It would be 5 in a row, I think. So yeah, then after this, she'd be right in that mix if she was to get a win. And then if Sarah could turn her back, obviously that keeps her floating around where she always has been. So a very important one for Sarah McMahon. I think she's got to be like 40 now. So curious to see how much longer she wants to even compete for, but big one here. So
Well, she also had a lot of time off though.
yeah, with the second child and
the
injuries and whatnot. So
right.
we will see.
I don't know.
Good one.
I don't know if she's like
not taking damage too much. Clearly,
40. She's not
right.
that old fighter. 40 at 40.
Yeah. Very true, but I like it. I'm down with the matchup overall, despite not wanting either to lose. And going back to the other news, Ghost asks, would Randa fit in one? And Stamina gave him a quick answer saying probably wouldn't suit her American lifestyle before anything else, I'd imagine. Despite her being Canadian, Stamina, but North American lifestyle. Yeah, that's the travel and all that kind of thing is what I look at as maybe the biggest hindrance there. But maybe just kind of the other things that go into one maybe wouldn't be best for Randa in what I guess she could fight in either of their divisions, but I don't know. I don't know if they'd want to go for her necessarily, but I don't know. It's an opportunity, I guess, but
I don't know where Randa goes from here.
Yeah, that is an option though, so worth bringing up, Ghost. Worth bringing up. And he says he didn't think about her American lifestyle. I just thought her matchups would be more favorable in one. Yeah, there'd be some fun ones. That's for sure. And she'd have instantly a lot of experience versus some of them. Like her versus Panda would be pretty awesome. Or even Angela Lee, throwing any of them, really. Just freshness, that'd be really cool. But again, not sure how likely that is. Maybe you can catch up with Randy here soon. We'll see what your boy can do. But okay. All right. We move on to some news that I broke for Steve before the show started. He didn't know that this happened, and I'm curious to see how many of you do and what your excitement levels are. So take it away.
Yeah, I don't even know how I missed this. Ultimate Fighter Season 30 will feature women's flyweights. That's interesting. Didn't even know that they were doing this. So
flyweights and heavyweights.
Cool. Good mixture, I guess.
I wonder what it would be. It'd be 8, right? They wouldn't do 16 for each of them. That's too many people.
It's so many.
It'd be 8 each.
They did 16 for the featherweights, right? Or
no,
for the flyweights.
For for the when they crowned the champion, yes.
For but Nico and Roxanne.
That season was only. That's what they do. They do 16 total fighters, so it's either between two divisions or one. Yeah. So. And Rue's asking, will Kana be on this show? Of course not. On Tough 30? No, she's in Bellator. She'd run the table, though.
Who knows who's going to be on there?
I know. That's the fascinating part is what is this going to look like?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who they can kind of gather and sweep up.
Do you think that they would go outside of the Americas, though?
Yeah. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Do you think flyweight's the right choice in terms of divisions they could have done for the women? I think if bantamweight would have been good, but clearly there's not a lot. It's thin out there. It's just thin.
Yeah, I mean, bantamweight probably needs it more than flyweight does
at this stage. Yeah.
So I don't know why they didn't do bantamweight. To be honest, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, flyweight's a great division in the UFC.
Yeah, it's really shaped up this year. So All right, now people are starting to petition to get Khan on tough. James and Jin says Khan on tough. Holy shit!
No way it happens, guys.
No. She still has 2 more fights on her Bellator contract, so that's gonna have to wait.
Rain bringing in good memories.
Of course.
Remember when Paige challenged the winner on Tough a while back? Then Valentina got mad.
Always digging that up. That one's just in the back pocket all the time.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, so now I'll be watching Ultimate Fighter again. I actually skipped this last season.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it, but
dude,
I'll have to jump on this one.
I didn't watch this whole season, and literally one of my favorite fighters was the coach going into a title fight.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. It's quite telling about the state of affairs. But all right. So moving on from that, see how that all pans out. I think it said the dates of when they'll be filming and stuff, but I didn't keep track of that, obviously. And seems maybe nobody did, but coming up.
Interesting to see who's on the show.
Yeah, for sure. So as we move along to the last piece of news today, this was a sad one, Steve, and I know the chat will probably be upset as well. The strawweight shakeup we had.
Yeah, Montserrat Ruiz is out of her fight against Mallory Martin, and guess who steps in? Her nemesis, Cheyenne Bays.
Her nemesis. That's a good. I didn't even put that together. That's funny. That's true. Yep. Bays versus Martin now. Yeah, big bummer.
What a bummer, man.
Conejo's out.
Terrible.
Yeah, December 4th. Don't know what happened to Montserrat, but that was, a good matchup, good fun matchup with Mallory. Now, I mean, this isn't a bad matchup either, and matchmaking wise, this is fine. It makes sense, I would say, all that kind of thing, but not as fun, I don't think. Would have liked to see Montserrat in there and, of course, try to rebound off that rough Lemos loss. But things happen. So now we got this instead. I'm sure everyone's very excited. Stamina says, whole lot of switching and swapping going on in Fightland. Yes, it is. Yeah. And Rue says, wasn't Bays supposed to get starched by Loma?
Yes.
That was supposed to happen, but maybe she ducked her. No. Now she's in this fight.
She was scared of that Loma Muay Thai.
Loma Muay Thai. Yeah, that is true. And Rain also says Bays was supposed to get destroyed by Loma in the clinch.
Absolutely, she was.
Jimmy says so. Bays ducked Loma. Scott says wasn't she supposed to fight her? Yes. This week. So that is kind of odd. I wonder what I didn't see what happened with Bays either. I need to keep up better with that kind of thing, but sometimes it's just not said. So I'm sure we'll find out as that fight gets closer, of course. Jin says Bays fears Loma. Well, yeah, I'm still looking forward to this matchup, but again, bummed for Montserrat. Hopefully speedy recovery and we see her again soon, maybe before the end of the year. Still, there probably won't be an event too far after that. Side 269, I don't think is the last one of the year, but one after that. So who knows? Either way, strawweights to close out the news cycle. I think that was today that news was revealed.
I think so. Yeah, I saw it today.
Stamina speculating that it might have been COVID related. Protocols for Bays. I think you might be right too. Actually, I feel like I did see something.
He said he made it up.
Said he might have made it up. That sounds familiar though. That happened with somebody.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's true. Skill says not looking forward to this. Skill at the lowest level. Oof. All right. Well, It's one of those comments I wasn't planning to read, but here we are. All right. Anyway, that is it for the news, and it's time for the previews so we can get back into some of those things as we get ready for RIZIN 32 and UFC Vegas 43.
Rising.
Starting off with the show in Vegas, of course, and also at Strawweight. We got 2 Strawweight fights, a flyweight bout and a bantamweight main event. But Luana Pinero is back and now taking on Sam Hughes because, unfortunately, another shakeup. Didn't put it in the news because we're going to talk about it here, but Jessica Penne was supposed to be in this fight, so that one hurts my heart that something happened for her after the great run she's got back on. Doesn't seem too serious. She seems in very good spirits on Instagram and everything, but pulled from the fight now, so that sucks. But in comes Sam Hughes, who I feel like only takes short notice fights, Steve.
Yeah. I think her 3 fights, UFC fights, are all short notice, right?
They might be. Let's look at them here. As we have Luana as a quite large favorite, which, yep, I think that's pretty fair. What do we got? The Tisha one was short notice. The Loma one, I don't remember if the Loma one was. I think it was. I'd have to. I guess if we no, we'd have to look at Loma's record, won't we? But she's on this card, so we'll look at it after this. Either way, yeah, Sam Hughes taking on Luana Pinero, who is fighting for the first time since her debut, which was against Randa Marcos, the upkick heard around the world. And now we're here. A while later. When was that fight? That was a bit ago. 6 months ago. How about that? So, yeah, as we know, Luana Pinero, phenomenal judoka, black belt in judo, has developed some serious striking, has good knockout power now. Just a finisher through and through. I don't think she's gone to decision ever in her career. Has been able to win in all varieties. Trains with Mateus Nicolau. I believe they're actually together. But Sam Hughes just... These matchups are like all too tough for her, man. Like, as much as we love Sam Page and as great as good of a prospect as she still is, like it's been kind of proven that she's just not quite ready for the stage.
She's taking tough fights.
That is true, though.
And the short notice thing just isn't working out. Like, take a full camp. I feel like take a full camp. Prepare for your opponent, and maybe you'll show a better performance.
Yeah. And good night to Dave. He's out for the night. Thanks so much for coming back, man. It's been a while indeed.
Bye, Dave. Thank you.
And yes, Stamina, you're correct about the Litchell's question. Sorry, man. I'm going to skip that one. We talked about it earlier. You can go back to the recap. But yeah, and Ghost bringing up a great point here, saying Sam Hughes doesn't understand how to handle forward pressure. If Luana is smart, she's going to attack her right at the start. That's just what Luana does in general.
I think
so
she probably will. Yeah, she's going to blitz.
Exactly what's going to happen. So she's either going to pour it on her or flip her, toss her on her head, and then work for a submission. I struggle to see Luana not winning this fight, but the thing with Sam Hughes is that she's so goddamn tough and durable that she might be able to survive to the end, right? Like Luana,
she's got to get a win at some point, you know, like she's got to pull off a win at some point. Drake, is this the one? I don't know. I don't think so, but at some point we're gonna be like, Sam Hughes, you're gonna win this. You're gonna win one.
Yeah, that's fair. No, very, very high on Luana. I mean, she was one of my fighters when we did our kind of year preview, our year-end special for 2020 going in, that I highlighted her, and she's just been very good as a prospect throughout her career. 10 fights so far. I mean, even in the Randa fight, which ended weirdly, she was doing very good against Randa. She hit like 3 big ass judo throws on her. You remember those hip tosses were fucking sent Randa flying, which she's had trouble with in the past. I mean, speaking of Jessica Penne, going back to their fight in each of their debuts, Randa got flipped over in that one. I'll never forget that highlight. But yeah, Luana is just a beast and getting better in all sorts of areas, despite having her great judo base. So it just is a rough one for Sam Hughes and the odds makers. Thankfully, I actually see that, but I don't think it's too hard to see. I think Ghost is spot on kind of with the assessment there. And I mean, we just kind of know that's how Luana fights. She's going to come right at Sam. And it is just going to be a matter of if Sam can survive. Right, Steve? I mean, if she does, that's her best hope. If she can drag this fight into like the third round just by being gritty and tough, then she has a chance because maybe Luana gasses. You know, we've never seen her kind of have opponents take it there by surviving her onslaught, right? So if that can happen, then Sam actually has a pretty decent chance. I don't know if it's a great chance, but it's much better than the start of this fight because it's going to be a buzzsaw coming at her. So I'm going to say Luana by submission, though. I think Sam will be tough enough to not get knocked out, but she'll get submitted somehow. So first round for me.
So doesn't get smart enough not to get knocked out, but gets
not smart enough, but durable enough
in the first round.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Luana's she's gonna come out gangbuster. That's just what she does. Man, she's gonna put it on Sam, I think, for as long as it lasts. I don't know. Maybe it goes 2. I'd be surprised if it goes to the third round though, or any further. If it goes to decision, mind blown. Well, it's just because Sam hasn't really looked great lately, you know, and
I mean, she did pretty well against Loma. She did better than people remember, but Loma is also a lot smaller than Luana.
Yeah, she's tiny.
And doesn't have that judo base.
Right, and she's not like
in the power.
This crazy power striker. Exactly. I guess Pinero probably knocks her out round 2.
All right. There you go. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's obviously a tough one for Sam, but
she's tough though. She's tough herself.
Right. I think it's just more of a testament to like we're gonna start to see. I mean, people are gonna start to see more and more with each of these. The more that Luana fights, they're gonna see how talented she is. I really think she has potential to definitely crack in the top 15. Just a matter of how far she can go because she's shown, you know, to be very, very talented. So
I don't know, but she also just goes for the kill right away, and eventually that's going to catch up to her. I don't think
especially in this division.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think this is the fight. Eventually, she's going to do it, and she's going to get caught.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair, but not this Saturday night. So we are both taking Luana, as you do, against the Sam page. All right. So with that one out of the way, we move on to the woman we were actually just talking about. Loma Luke Boonmay is still competing on this card. Crazy. And against another short turnaround warrior, Miss Lupita Godinez, Steve, the Loopy one herself.
She just
not a baller.
Anybody, man. At any time. She gives 0 fucks.
Yeah, I'm sure she's eager to get back in the win column too after the questionable loss there at flyweight to was it Luana Carolina? Yeah. And so now we could talk about some odds for Chris, because if you're still here, Chris, he was asking about these, and I don't think he mentioned Luana. I mean, obviously we would not make that bet on Sam, but in terms
of plus 100 for Loma.
Loma right here is plus 125. Slight underdog to Lupi's 150. I like those odds. I don't think this would be the one I'd bet on out of, well, I mean, I guess we'll decide at the end here because we have to look at the other ones again. But
You like what odds? You would bet Loma?
No, I
That's where
wouldn't.
the money's at.
Well, I mean, we'll get to the others. Right? So, as for this fight, though, I mean, we know what Lupi's capable of, and she's staying active here, an in-your-face kind of fighter. Has great wrestling, has very sharp boxing as well. Of course, we can always highlight that Vanessa Demopoulos one, even the Penne fight, and didn't look terrible in the Carolina split. Oh, it was a unanimous, actually. Well, thought it should have been a little bit closer than that. But then, of course, submitted Silvana, absolutely dominated her very quickly. She's just more well-rounded than Loma. Obviously, Loma is going to have the striking edge, and then the Muay Thai and the clinch, you know, if it goes there. But I think Lupi
has to get there.
Can close it enough to where she'll get out of those situations. And I think she's just a little bit bigger than Loma. Obviously, they're both very, short in like length, as you can see the height and reach right there. But Lupi is obviously very powerful. She's very strong for strawweight and just had that flyweight fight. Whereas Loma probably cuts no weight whatsoever for strawweight and is a natural atom weight. I think that the size, not the size, but the physical advantages for Lupi in terms of her strength, and then accompanied by her overall skill set being better than Loma's, it leans me towards Lupi, even on short notice. I don't know if short notice favors somebody over the other here, Steve. Maybe Loma a little bit. It is still an even fight. I agree with the odds being that close, but I just think that Lupi is able to do more things well than Loma. And I think she should be able to, when it is in tight, she'll be able to avoid the clinch and kind of smother, maybe get some underhooks and, stay out of that position, maybe get some body lock takedowns against the cage or what have you. Maybe a little bit similar to the Silvana win. But in terms of if she is able to finish Loma, don't know about that. Possible. If Loma's able to finish her, I think that's going to be even less likely. But you never know. Either way, I am leaning Lupi here. Probably by decision, but all the potential to be an awesome fight, Steve. I think this will be very fun.
I think so, yeah. I think it'll be a good one. It's just that if Loma is able to get in the clinch, get Lupi in the clinch, and that's where she does her best work in MMA. I don't know. I don't think that Lupita will let her, though.
Right. Exactly. That's kind of my main thought too in regards to that. And
it's crazy when you think of what Lupi did to Jessica Penne. Like, could you imagine her throwing Loma?
She'd go even farther.
Dude, crazy, right?
Throw her out of the octagon.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Just fucking pile drive her outside of the cage, right up over the awning, the top of the cage.
Oh, man, very possible.
No,
James,
not possible. Not gonna happen. But like, you can just picture it because Loma's so tiny.
Right. James chiming in saying he's taking Lupi. I feel that Jin took Loma down pretty easily. Going back to that one, yeah, that's fair to look at. I mean, that's the thing is we've seen Loma taken down plenty of times.
Yeah.
By lesser grapplers to an extent.
Yeah, she's not exactly good at grappling.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how she lost in some of her Invicta fights, or what is it? Just 2 losses in her first. I think it was her first Invicta fight. She got submitted by, I believe, Amy Montenegro, if my memory serves me right. And Rain chiming in saying, I've seen some of Loma's Muay Thai fights on YouTube. Sylvie, who weighs 95 pounds, gave Loma trouble with her right hand. Loopy has a bigger right hand than Sylvie, so you guys do the math. Yeah, that's certainly true. So Sylvie just got destroyed in the clinch, but her striking at range was on point. There you go. There you go. Some good good assessments there from Rain. So, Steve, who are you picking? I'm going Loopy, as I said here. Unanimous, I think.
Yeah, I think that's this. I think that's a smart pick to go Lupita.
But you drop some money on Loma. Is that where you're going?
But I would put money on Loma though, just because she's the underdog and she's done well in the UFC.
Yeah, yeah. For the most part, what just the Angela Hill loss, which splits what her 4 fights. I feel like she's fought more times than 4 times, but here we are. So, yep. They're both always fun fighters. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that one. 2 great prospects. I like it. I like that this came together. I like it more than Loma versus Bays in terms of a competitive standpoint, but even in that one, as much as you guys won't want to admit it,
a better fighter than Bays.
Yes, that is also true. But I was going to say Bays did have a chance against Loma, whether you guys want to admit it or not. But I digress.
Canada's saying War Loma.
There you go. He's a big Loma fan. And Ghost says, even in the clinch, Loopy has an advantage since she attacks the legs. Loma relies on breaking posture. That is a great point, Ghost. That's why we have you here, man.
But you guys aren't talking about how Loopy can just literally toss her, though.
You're forgetting the fact that she can toss a bitch whenever she wants.
Like, bro, like she did it against not a small Jessica Benet.
She gave her the Kevin Nash jackknife powerbomb. Pretty much what that was.
That was fucking wild.
Oh man,
that's the crazy. That might be some of the craziest shit I've seen in MMA.
Yeah, that was something. But anyway, as we move on back to the flyweight division, Steve, we have Joanne Not So Calder Wood versus Tyler Santos. How strange is that to see?
It's weird. Her name literally just got cut down.
I know, got cut in half. She is now married to Syndicate head coach John Wood. They've been together for a good while now, a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
So finally made it officially official. Yeah, so it's Joanne Wood versus Tyler Santos. My goodness, I'm also very excited for this one. This was one of those. Yeah, I was very excited for JoJo versus Grasso, of course. That was a bummer, but damn good replacement, just like the last fight. But man, just not getting any easier for JoJo, man. I'll tell you that much. Obviously, we have discovered over time that Tyler Santos is the truth pretty much immediately after the Mara Romero Barella defeat in her debut. And the odds makers have come around. So as Chris mentioned earlier, again, minus 300 for Tyler, whereas JoJo is plus 240. Steve, I wouldn't bet on this one. I wouldn't. I think Tyler, again, as I said, is the truth. She has proven it to be very, very tough to beat. The last fight against Roxy pretty much beat Roxy for the most part at her own game. She's got phenomenal Muay Thai as well, as does JoJo. But she's showing off her grappling like crazy in this 3-fight stretch. You know, she can do it all, which is a scary thought considering her striking is very solid. So JoJo, I think, really has her work cut out for her, despite the grappling improvements that she has made over time. And then, you know, her Muay Thai is always pretty on point. And those classic JoJo knees and teeps that we love to see, whether in the clinch or stepping in, I think Tyler will probably be pretty prepared for him. And you just don't know what Tyler is going to do because she can do everything now, right? Like, is she going to try and strike with JoJo? Go back to wrestling her a little bit as she did with Roxanne? She's getting to be a very serious threat, Steve. So I think this is probably tougher of a fight for JoJo than Alexa is.
It's pretty crazy that Tyler Santos is the moderate favorite, a what is that, minus 300
Yeah,
for
seems
Santos.
kind of decent sized, right?
She will, given that she's ranked number 10, while Ms. Wood is Miss Wood is ranked number 5 in the official UFC rankings. So the odds makers apparently think that Santos is that much better than Wood, even though the rankings are, even though Joanne is ranked number 5 and Santos is ranked number 10.
Right.
It's pretty crazy to me. If you're betting on, if you think that Calder, God damn it, if you think that Joanne Wood is the better fighter than Taila Santos, put money on it because there's money to make.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think Santos wins the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, she's looking just so good everywhere. Like very methodical with her approach, like very high fight IQ. The
She
way
looks
she
great lately, man. Fuck, dude. What is that? 18-1, 16-1? Is that in 18?
yeah, she's at 18 now, yeah.
God, dude. 18-1. That is phenomenal.
Yeah. Very little resistance against Roxy last time out. Jillian dominated her on the ground too, and we know Jillian's very solid black belt. Kind of exposed Jillian, really. Molly, same thing there.
Why are syndicate fighters fighting this woman?
Yeah, it's not going well for them. So I expect more of the same. I really do. As well, Taila Santos. I think it was after she changed my mind a bit with the Molly win, but then the Jillian one kind of really got me. And then, of course, the last one, can't argue with that. Ghost chiming in here saying the thing I like about JoJo is her Anderson Silva reverse elbow. She likes to throw 2 times in a fight. Just wish she shoulder rolled into it. Plus, her front kicks are cool. This is very true. When JoJo is on, it is a very fun show to watch.
Yeah, she's really good when she's on, but when she's off,
yeah,
it's not good for her.
Yeah. Stamina saying JoJo has lost to damn near everyone V Chef has already beaten, but yeah, they'll probably still give her the title shot if she wins, because UFC.
Well, they tried.
That would be
she kind of shit the bed on that one.
Yeah. Litchfield says also because Valentina beat already all the girls in the top 4, JoJo is the number 5. Man, could you imagine? Could you imagine? If Tyler wins, though, I mean, don't be surprised, you guys. Do not be surprised. That'd be 4 in a row. And if it's not competitive, then there you go. And Alvin says, congrats to Mrs. Wood getting married. I hope she and Ms. Santos do great things in the cage this week. My man. Yeah. I think that on the feet, obviously, this will be the most fun. But again, just how smart Tyla's fighting. I think she's going to look to expose JoJo's grappling defense, which we've seen exposed numerous times throughout her career. Unfortunately, I see no reason for her not to try and go to that well again. I'm sure she will strike her way into the pocket, have some fun in those moments as it starts up. But she's going to take the smart path and get JoJo down and ride her way to yet another unanimous decision. And who knows? Maybe she'll even surprise us, whip out a submission. I'm not going to make that prediction, but possible, as we've seen JoJo submitted in the past by the likes of, yes, Jennifer Maya and Andrade, some pretty good fighters themselves. But again, not going to make that prediction, but I am going to take Taila Santos, of course, decision. And Ghost asks, do you guys know if Santos catches kicks? I don't think anybody's really had the opportunity to throw kicks at her, honestly. At least in the UFC.
I think Joanne Wood will be able to get her kicks off. That's what she does, right?
Yeah.
Does that pretty well, to be honest. But I would assume that if Santos were to get kicked, she would be able to catch them.
Right. And yeah, that's exactly what Ghost mentions because he says because Santos can catch a front kick from JoJo, it could be all over for JoJo. Yes, she loves those front kicks.
She does.
So,
and they work for her sometimes, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah. Yep. Very true. But alas, 3 for 3 between Steve and I, taking the favorites here. I mean, it's just how it goes.
This one actually surprises me that
that
Santos is the favorite.
I mean, it's good to see that the odds makers know what they're talking about, though. I mean, I don't know if it should be that big, but
yeah, pretty surprising.
Santos is the rightful favorite, I think. But anyway, now we get to the main event, which I am quite excited for, because you all know that Miesha Tate is one of my all-time favorites, and I do quite like Caitlin Vieira as well. But somebody's gotta lose. Oh man, Joseph's favorite fight. He's been talking about this ever since it was announced. I don't know if he's still tuning in, but Chris is still here. He says, such a good show. Thanks for answering some of my questions. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for joining us as we continue with the bet talk. And this is where now I will give you your answer, Chris, because I would drop money on Miesha. Oh, well, I guess this is a lot more even, but if she's, well, the odds that he said that she was plus 100, right? But earlier in the show, if there's odds for that, if Miesha's underdog, I'm taking it. So
I don't think that you'll find Miesha underdog.
Yeah, we'd have to look at some best fight odds for all those lines, but either way, here we are with this main event. Oh, gonna be a good one, Steve. 5 rounds potentially. First main event for Ketlin, which means first 5-round fight for Ketlin. I believe shouldn't be a problem for her, but we don't know yet. And also, as we've mentioned ever since her loss to Irina Aldana, she just has not quite looked the same as when she was on that run up until that fight, unfortunately.
Yeah. She looked really good up until she didn't.
Oh, she looked phenomenal. She was kind of my dark horse for the division too. I don't know about dethrone Nunes, but I really liked that matchup, and I felt that Nunes at the time would have needed to finish her to beat her, because that great Brazilian wrestling background she has. But now got the win over Ciguro, which was a solid win. But then the Yana loss, which, yeah, I think that was probably a fair loss, but just kind of tried for the lay and pray, and it actually didn't work, which was very odd, kind of out of character for her. And then obviously Miesha came back and looked maybe better than ever against Marina Renault, just dominated. It looked like she was never gone, or looked like she was gone and then came back, reinvented, obviously. And Steve, I mean, we talked about it right after that win. I think it was maybe Yusuf. Shout out to him for asking about it, but he asked us who Miesha would beat out of everyone in the top 15. And did we both agree that she could probably beat everybody? We would favor her against everyone not named Nunes. At least I think that was how I was feeling. If she looks that good again.
Yeah, I think that's how you felt for sure.
Because I mean, just the way that she was able to strike and show those improvements, as Ghost highlighted in the very first Phantom Punch breakdown, before it was even called that, she looked very much improved there. And then her wrestling still on point, as it always has been. And I think that her striking, of course, helped get her into those areas where she can succeed most and then end up finishing the fight. Obviously, that's going to be a bit more difficult against Ketlin, who is a very, very good grappler in her own regard. So, man, Steve, we might have a very fun wrestling match on our hands here.
Could be. It could be good wrestling. Probably not, though.
Think they'll end up just throwing down?
Yeah, they probably just throw.
I think actually how this will play out is Miesha is going to kind of start off the same as she did in the last fight with Renault, where she did show off the striking for a good amount of time, right? And then she ended up going for the takedowns kind of later in the rounds. But with Ketlin here, I don't know if I really expect her to try and wrestle too much at all. And I'm kind of looking back to this is
Ketlin
kind of
won't wrestle with Miesha Tate.
I think Ketlin will wrestle with her is where I was going with this. Was I think that if somebody's going to engage, it's going to be
that would be pretty dumb on her part.
I mean, that's where it gets interesting, right? Is because obviously we know Miesha can hit submissions off her back and
yep.
That kind of thing. But so can I think Ketlin has the ability to. I mean, I guess we haven't really seen the submissions from her off her back, but we've seen her get them from top, of course. So that's where she wants to be mostly. But Ketlin, her boxing and striking isn't too terrible either. She's very big for the division. She can get Miesha against the cage. But, this is like Miesha's been there, done that kind of stuff at this stage. So that's why I think she'll probably
we're talking about a former champion.
Yes, indeed. And then 5 rounds to play with. She can take her time. Might, let Ketlin not have her way in the first couple rounds, but maybe not expend as much energy necessarily. But what I was getting at with the comparison there was, and kind of maybe a funny one, but if you look back at like Miesha's fight with Rin Nakai, who obviously ran a very tiny bantamweight at the time, at least in stature, very similar to Jessica Andrade. But Rin has, she's mostly known not for her striking, for her wrestling more than anything, and her skill set. Miesha did not try to grapple with her like at all. That was pretty much a very tactical and kind of silly, looking from Rin's side of things, striking match. Not to say that this is very similar to that, but when you look at another strong wrestler that Miesha's fighting, like how will she approach that? Like even if you look at the Sarah McMahon fight, this is a better example probably because I think if you were to make a better comparison, it would be Sarah to Ketlin. Of course, they did fight each other, but Miesha did not try to take down Sarah McMahon. Of course, she got, rocked like a motherfucker in that first round, and then Sarah ended up taking her down in the rounds afterward, but Miesha transitioned and got on top of her, swept her. I could see it being more similar to that kind of case. We don't see Miesha typically, at least in the past, we haven't seen her try to wrestle wrestlers, Steve. That's kind of the line of thinking I'm looking at here.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, but I think that she's grown, as a fighter. I think that she would be
right.
She would be okay with going to the ground, and she would be able to hang.
Yeah. I mean, it's totally different situations too compared to the past. So, I mean, you could take them with a grain of salt, but that's just kind of something I was reflecting on. But yeah, no, you look at the total change in camp and this kind of position she's in now, how she approached the last fight, all that kind of thing. I mean, Renault, I wouldn't necessarily classify as a wrestler, but she had solid grappling and she would take her fights there every now and then, not to the same degree as those other fighters I mentioned, but Miesha wrestled her, obviously. So we'll see how that battle plays out. But Scott says he's got in with Miesha at plus 125 on DraftKings. All right, that is, I would take that for sure. Ghost,
early.
Yeah. Ghost says Tate's been working with Whitman, and his entire strategy for all his fighters is to keep opponents off balance, and Ketlin gets off balanced easily. All right, looking at some little details there is Ghost. Chris says in the UK, Tate is plus 100 and Vera at minus 125. I think it's decent value for Tate. I like Tate, Loma, and JoJo triple at 20-1. I'll put $1 on it. I mean, the JoJo one is the one I'd worry about right there, Chris, as we just touched on that. And Ghost says that's not inside information, by the way. That's just from studying Rose style the last 4 months. There you go. If anyone's going to know, it would be him just from watching. And then Chris says, if Tate loses, do you think she keeps on fighting? She has 3 more fights left on her contract. Yeah, I think she'll finish him out.
She definitely keeps fighting.
Because if she loses, I don't think that her title shot is completely gone. Like if she loses 2 in a row, then she's going to be in a lot more trouble. But she can bounce back and put together the rest of those on her contract, like you said. And Scott says plus 105 with Tate. Still probably do it.
Yeah, 125 would have been too good.
Yeah. All right. Gotta get the comment off there. So yeah, in the end, man, I still am a fairly big believer in Ketlen Vieira, getting to be a title challenger at some point.
Not a big enough believer in her to beat Miesha Tate.
There we go. It's just from ever since in these last two fights, it's just been hasn't looked the same, which I don't like that, and I want to see her revert kind of to her old ways, which was maybe just more active. And she kind of just seems a little bit scared striking. And it might be just that case if she's worried about that knockout again and getting hit. Man. So,
she probably doesn't want to get knocked out, man.
I mean, it was a brutal one. So, but it's crazy though, because if you look back at that fight, I remember her actually edging out Irene in that fight. She was, of course, very aggressive, which obviously ended up costing her, but I thought she was winning that round until she, got destroyed. So if Ketlen can return to her old ways, much better chance here. I would probably favor her, but I can't trust that she's going to do that. I can't trust that she's not going to be kind of gun shy, try and hug Miesha, whether it's against the cage or on the ground. Like I said, I do think she's going to try and take this fight to the ground before Miesha does. Maybe that'll cost her. Of course, we've seen Miesha pull off some of the most miraculous comebacks you'll ever see. The Julie Kedzie one off her back there with the armbar. Of course, Holly Holm, a little bit different situation there, but she can catch Ketlen for sure. Ketlen could catch her as well, but I feel like we haven't seen that as much, especially from defensive positions. So, and Miesha, again, if she looks as good as she did in her last fight, continues to build off the striking and just overall excellence that she showed there, best way to put it, I really struggle to see that Miesha Tate struggling or losing to practically anyone at a bantamweight that isn't named Nunes. Like she can do it all, man, if she continues to look that good. So in the end, this is a 5-round fight. I think Miesha's going to get another finish. I'm going to say 4th round submission, kind of similar to the Marlus Kunin win. Throwback to when she won the Strikeforce title. I'm going that far with it. What do you say?
I do think that Miesha Tate probably wins the fight. I don't know. I think the Vieira just kind of fallen off a little bit. Not what we thought she would be. And Miesha Tate is back, I think. I have no reason not to believe in Miesha Tate at all at this point. Until somebody's able to stop her, I guess, then I'll believe it. But for now, I think that Miesha Tate is probably a title contender. Just a step towards that. She probably gets a decision here.
All right. There we go. Cupcake. 4 for 4 from your boys on this end. Going to be an interesting one, though. I'm looking forward to that. I like the 5-round element to it. I think that makes it a lot more interesting. So, should be fun. Either way, good experience and a big opportunity for Ketlen Vieira. So, I'm happy for that. And then Miesha Tate in the spotlight. I'm never going to complain about that either. So, works for me. But that is UFC Vegas 43. All done in the books. Can't wait for it. And Quickly Go says, watch for Tate to feint the rear hand, then counter the slip step of Vieira, getting her off balanced. All right. We will have to dissect it afterwards. There's the Fan of Punch breakdown. I'm putting you on the spot now. We'll get back to Miesha at some point, I'm sure. But yes, either way, as we get ready to wrap up the show here, closing things out with RIZIN 32. Steve is big hype. I am big hype. Y'all should be big hyped. We're going to Okinawa, kicking things off. well, I guess both super atomweight. The main event is actually a catchweight bout, but before then, super
No, they won't
atomweight,
wait.
super atomweight fight. Mizuki Nisei Oshiro, excuse me, and Eric Koga both make their debuts in RIZIN. Of course, two Deep Jewels veterans. Nisei just recently got the main event win against Mizuki Furuse. The Battle of Mizukis at Deep Jewels 30, was that 5? Does it say here? It doesn't say, but that was just a month ago. Whereas Eric Koga, not, no, it doesn't say the exact event there, but that's okay. I know, I'm pretty sure it was 35. Eric Koga then just recently beat everyone's favorite Eru Takabayashi just a week and 4 days ago.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, so that was good back and forth fight, but Koga gets the job done, and now they both get huge opportunity here on the RIZIN stage in Nisei's hometown.
Such a quick turnaround.
Yeah, very much so. Wasted no time to get back in there. Makes you wonder if Takabayashi would have got the fight if she would have won, which makes you a little sad. But
I guess you would think.
Yeah, and I mean Takabayashi having already fought in RIZIN before, pretty safe to assume, right? Pretty safe bet there, but that's all right. So Nisei versus Koga now. Obviously, still in prospect mode for each of them. Nisei struggling a bit with some of the better names there. Of course, got submitted by Siri Oshima. I believe that was before the tournament. That was before the tournament. And Siwoo Park beat her. Hikaru Aono. The usual suspects. People that it's not crazy for you to lose to, but she has shown some serious promise with that Shinashi win, which was nearly 2 years ago now. And Shinashi, one of the GOATs, of course. But Nisei managed to beat her in very impressive fashion. TKO'd her in like a minute and 40 seconds. And then Koga, has those deep wins. Just really starting things off this year professionally, as these were amateur bouts against Yuka and then Nakamura. But if we're to judge from what we've seen from Koga, as I mentioned with the Takabayashi fight, it was kind of a matter of her winning from Takabayashi falling, and then she got on top of her. She didn't really take her down necessarily, and then she just did her work from there. On the feet, hung in there, but I wouldn't say was getting the better of her. Nisei, not the greatest striker. I think her strengths lie in her grappling, which we saw in that Furuse, kind of bully beat down a little bit her last time out to get the stoppage there. So I expect Nisei to kind of get this one to the ground, or try and get it to the ground while Koga maybe plays around a bit on the feet when she can. But haven't seen her in too much trouble or in defensive moments in grappling yet in her career. So hard to tell, but Nisei obviously has a little bit more experience and against much better competition, significantly better competition, so she can learn from that. So this fight is not a layup or like showcase fight for Nisei at all, like a gimme or anything, but it's a little bit favorable for her, and it is in her home of Okinawa, which is kind of the whole reason that she's on the card, if we're going to be honest. But we'll see how it plays out. But because of everything I just mentioned, I got to lean towards Nisei a little bit here. And I think she'll probably do what she does and get a decision or maybe a submission. She's pretty aggressive when she gets into good spots, but who knows? Who knows how it'll go? Koga and show us maybe something. She's one to be reckoned with, and I believe she's pretty young as well. It doesn't have her age here, but
I think she's like 19 or something.
I think, it might be 19, 21 range. So also very young, like Takabayashi. But I'm gonna take Nisei. Like I said, I'm gonna say decision in this one. Well, no, I think she'll finish it. She's at home. She's gonna be on the big stage, be really fueled by the moment. I think she'll get it done. I think she'll find a submission. I'm gonna say second round. So yeah, she'll have a good night returning home. Big debut, all that fun stuff.
I think this is just might end up being too big of a moment for Koga.
Yeah, definitely very early and quick, like you said.
Yeah, super fast. One week turnaround. That's
pretty crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
2 weeks. By fight night, it'll be 2 weeks. Yeah.
Was it 2 weeks? Crazy, man.
Yeah. So Scott is out, by the way. Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate you.
For sure.
Rain says, not gonna lie, only 2 fighters I care about in RIZIN is Hamasaki and Rena Panchan. OMG, I simp for Arena. Well, hey, man, come on. That can't be the only reason you care about RIZIN. There's plenty of great talents there. But
You said only
yes,
2 reasons.
only 2. Panchan and Hamasaki. 2 great ones, of course. Ghost says Takabayashi striking is best seen in a large circular cage. Ironic, since her best striking performance was in a ring. That is a great point. That is a funny point. Yeah, she's kind of been going back and forth a bit with the enclosures, hasn't she? So nice note there, Ghost. But Steve, you feel the same as me though? Nisei gonna get it done here?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just too big of a stage right now at this point, which is okay, I guess. I mean, if you're taking fights on such short notice, it's not a terrible loss for Koga, for the young Koga.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of similar to Takabayashi with her 2 losses as well. Well, I guess just the one, because the first one didn't count because Mori missed weight. So that's how that happens. But yep, should be advantaged Nisei a little bit. But I think it'll be fun while it lasts. Both solid enough prospects. And plenty to learn still from Koga. So maybe she'll surprise us.
Yeah, I mean, shit happens in MMA. MMA is a crazy sport, man.
Very much so. But all right, the real main event of the weekend. We get to it now. Generally, the atom weights. But we're doing catch weight because Reina's calling the shots at 110 pounds. Not straw weight, not atom weight. Right in the middle there a little bit. It's the rematch with Miyu Yamamoto. Steve, how excited are you to see Reina back? It's her first fight this year. It's been too long since New Year's.
So long, man. So good to see Reina finally making it back in to fighting form. It's going to be a tough fight against Yamamoto for a second time.
Yeah. I mean, when they first fought I think it was Reina's second fight, her second MMA fight ever, and then for Miyu it was actually her debut. So it was right at the start of their careers in the 2015 Grand Prix, Steve.
So long ago.
Yeah.
Seems like so long ago.
Stamina is correct. Stratum weight is what we're working with here. So yeah, definitely. They're completely different fighters now, have gained so much experience. I mean, Miyu at the time, Miyu was straight up just a wrestler. And now she's developed into one of the best fighters in the world, obviously.
Yeah, she's really well-rounded.
And she actually hasn't fought all year either. So they both fought I guess Reina actually didn't fight on the New Year's card, but Miyu, the Hamasaki loss was on the New Year's show. So yeah, they both haven't fought this year. That's I didn't realize it, but here we are. The rematch all these years later. Reina coming in. And if you have not seen, shameless plug time, but Reina was on Broad Horizon episode 11, which dropped today. You can go and check that out after this if you have not yet, MiamiNews.com. And she said she's been staying busy this whole year, doing a lot of training, changing things up, kind of doing more weightlifting, still training at AACC. She's been working with the GOAT Hamasaki, as she generally does, which always helps. And, Miyu just fought her, of course. But she also has been training with Kazuyuki Miata, who pretty talented wrestler himself over at Brave. I think he was an Olympian, if I'm getting the people correct there. So kind of perfect if you're going to take on Miyu, who is quite a good wrestler herself. And the ageless wonder herself, nearly 50 years old, still kicking ass. That's insane, man. She's almost 20 years older than Reina. Oh,
Wow.
my God.
Brandon's talking about retiring before Yamamoto.
Well, if you watch latest episode of Broad Horizon, as I mentioned there, a little bit of correction there. You know, Reina was saying maybe over exaggerated the numbers at the time, or what she was saying after the Tamimatsu win in her last fight, maybe 2 or 3 more fights, and that she needed a break or whatever. But she told me she kind of said that to motivate herself to keep herself going. So at the time, she maybe wasn't feeling it, but now, having had this gap, she's feeling a little bit more amped up. So you love to hear that, Steve. Maybe we'll get a lot more.
Maybe we'll see her in March.
Yeah, maybe. She said she wants to fight next year, the year after. She did not sound like she was ready to.
Let's go. All right.
Yeah. Got to go watch the episode, man. It's good stuff. She was great. But yeah, here we are. 3-fight winning streak for Reina, looking to make it 4, potentially get that title shot if she's willing to take on her good friend and mentor in Ayaka, as mentioned there. But it's interesting with me, it's Miyu too, when you look at the circumstances of the training and all that, because, you know, generally training in Guam with the husband, Kyle Agwan, I forget the name of his gym. I apologize, but she's been back home at Fighting B. I'm forgetting the names of the gyms here, but you know, that group where she generally was before, when the world was more normal, but she was kind of stuck in Japan has been stuck in Japan, or stayed there at least, since the Hamasaki loss. And so Kyle hasn't been there with her for a while, but should be there with her now. Who knows how that's helped. She's been training with Itsuki Hirata over in One, of course. So a little bit of different looks from Miyu. See how that affects her. But the thing with this fight, Steve, is, again, she's a much better overall fighter this time around than the first time. Got caught in the armbar, I believe it was. So we know what Miyu always wants to do, which is wrestle, and her striking has improved greatly. But no matter how much it improves, probably never going to be as good as Reina, especially at this point, right? So,
yeah, man, it's been a while though for Reina, so I hope that she's able to get her striking off rather quickly. Not try to sit back and wait for Yamamoto to go in. Yeah, I don't know what to expect from Reina at this point. You know, it's been a while, like, and there were, I guess we can put to bed the doubts of her fighting anymore. But up until now, that's literally what I was thinking. You know, like, is this it? Is this the last time we're gonna see Reina? I guess I can put that to bed, but hopefully she's able to get those strikes off, man. Because she's one of the best female strikers in the world. If she's able to let her hands go.
Yeah, and I like that you kind of mentioned that maybe hesitancy a little bit, like going back to the Tamimatsu fight. That was kind of the thing that it was a little bit disappointing, you know, in that regard, seeing, she got the win, and it was over a good name like Tamimatsu, who is, you know, total veteran, pioneer.
She kind of just like laid back a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Foot wasn't quite on the gas as it normally would be, perhaps. And that's kind of what I liked when talking to her as well, was that she was saying, you know, the main event spot also giving her a little bit of a boost. Like, all right.
RIZIN still believes in me. You know, the people fucking want to see me fight.
Yeah. And so she's using that as like, I'm the last show. I'm the last, you know, fight of the night. Got to finish strong. And so I literally need at minimum a finish. Like she sounds like she's not going to be happy with anything other than that.
I'm into a Rena finish, man.
Yeah. And so speaking of that, Ghost asks, doesn't Reina just destroy Miyu to the body again with her hooks and front kicks? And he says, then again, Asakura did that beautiful knee ride into back take to Reina. So who knows? That was definitely very nice. I know Steve can appreciate that, even though he doesn't want to. Kana with the beautiful wrestling in that fight. Yeah. It's tough, man. I feel like, I mean, before speaking to Reina, I was definitely leaning towards Miyu, right? Because we didn't quite know where Reina's head was at. It seemed like more of a mental thing with her, right? But if she's coming in for the finish and looking to continue fighting for a good while, then
if that was just a break, a break from fighting, fucking great. You know, is this championship form Reina again? You know?
Yeah. Because if it is, then we got some goodness here. If it's not, if let's say the same Reina who fought Tamimatsu comes in, then Miyu should probably win
kind of easily.
Yeah, fairly easily.
You know, because of the well-roundedness, the wrestling, and all that. But I don't know. Rena's just got to let her hands go. Just let her striking take control of the fight. She needs to dictate where the fight goes. Not wait like she did in her last fight. She needs to just take control of the whole fight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely fair to say. I think start out maybe a little bit fast, not get in Miyu's face necessarily, but let her know that, you know, she's not fucking around. So I think that could kind of be how she comes out. You know, if she if she's fully, you know, in there to be in there for a good while again. And Ghost is asking, does Miyu do knee rides when her opponent sprawls? Not too familiar with Miyu. Only saw her fight with Hamasaki. Yeah, I believe I can recall seeing some of that, but honestly, her opponents, not that I can remember, have had the opportunity to sprawl on her or, you know, anything like that, because she generally gets them down.
She's such a world-class wrestler.
And then people not really trying to take her down too well. Actually, Kana tried, so that's a great fight for you to go and watch. Ghost, yeah, Kana could not do anything against Miyu, which was pretty crazy at the time. So that's probably one to look back at for that. So yeah, it's this completely comes down to, I think,
Rena's head.
Yes, that's
Rena's mind, where it is.
And it's not entirely like a striker versus grappler match necessarily, but that's where the strengths are, right? Like the wrestling versus the, you know, kickboxing.
Well, yeah, Rena's definitely her strength is in her striking. Yamamoto has really turned into an all-around good fighter, but what got her here to that was her wrestling.
Yep, exactly. And I think the body attack approach that Ghost kind of presented, I think we will see that from her. It's just a matter of, will she attack with kicks, which I don't think would be smart, because then she's opening that possibility for easier takedowns, right? But Reina attacks to the body with her punches very well too. So I think she would probably do that. And then again, training with Miyata now and maybe doing more. She said doing more weightlifting, so maybe she'll come in better shape.
She's gonna come in fucking yoked or what? Yeah.
I mean, these are good moves to make for kind of this rematch at this stage. So it's tough, man. It's funny.
Reina,
So
power.
Who knows? Maybe she'll surprise us. But this is one of those fights, man, where I know you're all team Reina here, but I hate to see either one lose. I adore them both so much, but I think honestly, after getting some more insight and speaking to Reina just a couple days ago, and knowing kind of where she's at, I'm gonna have to go with her now because I was feeling pretty good about Miyu getting it done until that, until kind of hearing from her and what she's been doing, and then just knowing what she's capable of when she is on. So if she shows up, the way we know she can, I think she can light up Miyu on the feet regardless of that. But it's just a matter of putting it into gear, and then she just has to avoid getting absolutely grapple fucked, which even if she does, we saw her submit Miyu the first time when she did get taken down. So it's a good one. I like it a lot, but Rain, I know Team Panchan. I'm fine with that as well. Panchan is great. But yeah, in the end, I think I'm gonna end up going Reina by I hate to say TKO, but I'm gonna say second round TKO actually. I think she'll find it. I think she'll find it. She seems like she wants it, man. So I'm sure you're picking Reina as well, but let me hear it.
Of course I'm picking Reina. Yeah, her striking is just so crisp, so clean, so perfect when she's on. She's damn near a perfect striker. She uses body shots, hits the liver perfectly, just puts it all. Combinations are perfect. Goes high, goes low. Keeps it calm. She's striking typically. That's what we need to see from Reina again. And I think that she puts all of that. She brings it all back. This is kind of like her welcome back fight. I think, where she's back, and she's fucking putting people on notice. That's what I want to see from Reina, and she can do that. She has it in her. It's just that there was so much doubt, like there was a cloud of doubt above what Reina was going to do because we hadn't heard from her. We didn't know what her intentions were. I guess now she's saying that she wants to fight, which is great. She wants to fight again. Great. So put it all in the cage, put it all together, put a perfect fight out there, and start calling motherfuckers out. Because that's what she does. She likes to fucking say names, dude.
Yeah, I mean, she wanted the Ham fight when Ham was champion. And man, imagine this, Steve.
She likes calling people out, and I love that, dude. I love that from her. I want to see her put it all together against Yamamoto. I know it's a tough fight to see Yamamoto lose, but I'm a big Reina fan. She's literally probably one of my favorite fighters, female fighters. She's like neck and neck with Ronda Rousey, and you know how much I love Ronda. Man, it's just putting it all together, brother. That's what she needs to do.
Could you imagine? Let's say Reina goes out there, gets the finish, no matter how she finishes it, and then we see the Reina heel turn, and she calls out Hamasaki.
Love it. Do it.
Fully goes back to the bad guy in black, like the Conor rematch.
Yes, do it. Dude, I'm all for Reina just fucking being Queen Bee again,
Yeah. Would be nice. Would be nice to have her a bit more frequently, and it sounds like that's what she wants. So
good. That's
what I want. This one plays out. Yep. And got the questions coming in. First of all, Alvin says, Mr. Riggs, I read your article about Ms. Panchan. What a great story behind her name. Great article. Thank you so much, sir. That was a very fun story. And it was very fun getting to talk to Panchan with all the Panchan talk here. Go check that one out as well. I don't remember what I titled that actually, Alvin, but if you search Panchan's name on Google, it'll come up. So yes, that was definitely a good one. If I do say so myself. And James asks, Or says Hamasaki, let Miyu take her down and submit her. Can Reina do the same? Not exactly the same as Hamasaki. That was one of the most brilliant sequences you'll ever fucking see. But I mean, she kind of, I wouldn't say she let Miyu take her down in the first fight, but she got taken down and then submitted her. So in that regard, yes. But like the same way Hamasaki did, Steve, I don't think so. That was just goat stuff from Ayaka. That's not going to be
it's probably
replicated
never
too
gonna
easily. Yeah. So, dun dun dun. Chris says, "Will the Trigger series and Landmark series continue into the future?" Yes, Chris. Come on, man. Did you not see the big 10th episode of Broaden Horizon? I talked to Sakigabara, and he said, "Yeah, there will be regular shows going forward. I think 4 or 5 events a year. So we're gonna have plenty of RIZIN next year and going forward. But yeah, man, they'll be a regular thing. So we're kicking things off. RIZIN Trigger is next week. So yeah, RIZIN Trigger will be in the cage. So that'll be cool with the RIZIN rules in the cage. You'll love to see it. And then Landmark will still be in the ring. Those will be smaller ones in terms of the cards being like 4 to 5 fights. And then Trigger will be like the same as the numbered events, like 15, 13 range. And this first one will be 14 fights. But yeah, there'll be about 4 or 5 events a year for each of them. And then about 7 or so numbered big shows, Sakibar said. So we'll have nearly 20 RIZIN events a year and probably just keep getting more and more. So very cool. But what was it? Was it Jimmy asked here? Is Reina the biggest star for the women in Japan? Bigger than Hamasaki? Yes, Steve.
When she's at the peak of her career, there was nobody bigger than her. And I think that she can get there again. She might not be now, like just in terms of fighting, just because she hasn't really been as active. But if she becomes active again and wins, puts together great fights and shows off her skills, her beautiful striking and stuff like that, there's no doubt in my mind that she will be Queen Bee again in Japan, and people in the rest of the world will start noticing her.
Yeah, I mean, I still think even right now, you could probably say that. I mean, it's easy to forget like how big of a star Reina really is.
I mean, she's massive.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find this real quick because I want to give a shout out to Charlie Jewett at Sogokaku. He did an article, a little bit of a research piece about the kind of the numbers on social media from some of the names, some among the women. And I know that obviously Hamasaki was up there. She was around like 4 and whatnot. I don't remember where Reina was though. I'm trying to find this. I don't know how I can find it, but yeah, definitely a very big star. Me that asked that. Multitasking here. Jin says he saw Broaden Horizon. Even if Panchan fights Reina would start her, even though I love Panchan. Not a good fight for Panchan. Steve, how do you feel about that hypothetical fight? Panchan's long. She's got that going.
Yeah, well, Rena's a lot better in striking. So put body shots to her and, end it.
Oh, here's what it was. I think he did a who generated numbers. Oh, this is okay. So this was I'm getting all mixed up here, but good stuff over at Sogokaku. This was I found what I stumbled across just now is for RIZIN 30 specifically. So if we look at these numbers. Where are we here? Pre-fight interviews. Panchan on that event had the most out of the women, and Hamasaki was on this card. So this is kind of what I'm going for. I know there's a way to find this. Apologies, everyone. Keep searching and scrolling. And then Jin says, so it's a good thing that kickboxing fight will never happen. Well, never say never, as Shingo said. Maybe Reina's mind will change, or who knows, Panchan comes to MMA, but that would give her less of a chance. And Go says, did you guys just become Team Panchan because of her YouTube cosplay with Kana? And they all say yes.
They said yes.
They say, if Kana is friends with Marina, then I'm Team Panchan for life. There you go. Double flags. And I got plenty of gifts to come out of those entertaining videos. Jin says Ghost actually checked her last fight when Drake mentioned it, fell in love with that style. Yep. She utilizes distance very, very well. So quite the opposite of Stefan Struve. But all right, I can't find it. I'm going to give up on that. But either way, Steve and I agree on all the fights this weekend. So how about that?
That's not too crazy.
Nah, it ain't. But we back and we agree. So RIZIN 32 going down right after UFC Vegas 43. Cannot wait for it. We got 2 back-to-back lady main events. The women in the main events. So
and 2 former champions and 2 greats. Fucking wonderful weekend for the women, especially Misha Tate and Rena. Come on.
I know, right? 2 of them that we weren't sure how much more we'd get out of them.
No,
so.
And now we're back to them fighting and
being contenders.
Yeah, damn near title fight ish.
No kidding. So, all right. Well, with that in mind, quite amazing. We are well over the 3-hour mark. How about that? Follow us, like, share, and subscribe, you guys. If you don't know, now you know. Audio only versions are now on Anchor and Spotify. You can just search at WMMA Today. The links are also in the description. Easy peasy. Bum. At Drake Riggs _, at Steve K _MMA, at the Scrap News. You know where to go. Steve, are we getting any closer to some MMA inks?
Nah.
Nope. Any articles? Anything at all?
Put it out there. No. No.
Well, that's life, folks. Can't have it all, but I got stuff for you. As I mentioned, Broaden Horizon episode 11 just dropped today. Rana was on the show. Bobby Olagun, Momoka Mandakoro, who lost to Panchan in both of their RIZIN debuts at RIZIN 30. Momoka returning for the RIZIN Trigger series, the first show, as she takes on Miku, who looks like she's related to Jessica Ai, but that's just how that is. Should be a fun kickboxing match because Momoka always brings it. And also, I don't think I got to plug Broaden Horizon episode 10 too much, but that was last week, so a quick turnaround. Megumi Fuji joined me once again. Sakigibara, as I said. Juntaro Ushiku, who is the new featherweight champ, and Shiori Oshima was also on there, and Lenny Hart. So fantastic 2 episodes of Broaden Horizon. I would highly recommend checking them out. Please, MyMMAnews.com, and plenty of other things on the way. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in for this long time. You guys are the real MVPs. And thank you, Chris, for coming in as well for the first time. At least seeing you live, buddy. He says, great podcast.
Thank you.
Stamina signs out as well. And Steve, it's about that time where we're nice and hungry late at night. So let's send it on home.
Yes. To everybody who tunes in on a weekly basis, with Drake, without Drake, with Steve, without Steve, with Serena Southpaw. Thank you to everybody who comes on in the chat weekly, every week. If you're not here chatting with us live, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for showing up, tuning in. Until next week, guys. Enjoy these fights. Go Rena.
Peace.